acres and was about 10% contained on Sunday. The team assumed command over the 416 fire early Sunday morning and planned to check for hotspots and reopen Highway 550. Firefighters in Colorado said forecasted storms could help dampen the fire, but warned increased winds and lightning could make battling the blaze more difficult and spark even new fires. Evacuations for 1,500 residents also remained in effect, according to the La Plata County government. Most evacuation orders for Laguna Beach were lifted Sunday as firefighters continued to combat brush fires.
Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com.
Reuters reports 3 people were airlifted to safety on Sunday morning as lava from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano threatened an isolated area where they had become trapped. The 2 men and a woman became the latest in a series of evacuations on Hawaii's Big Island, forced by the volcano, which has been erupting since May 3rd. On Saturday, National Guard troops, police, and firefighters ushered evacuees from homes on the eastern tip of the island hours before lava cut off road access to the area, according to officials. A stream of lava as wide as 3 football fields flowed over a highway near a junction at Kapoho, a seaside community rebuilt after a destructive eruption of Kilauea in 1960. Officials said about a dozen people remain in the area, but it is not clear whether they are in the neighborhoods that are immediately threatened by the lava. The Hawaii Volcano Observatory reported late on Saturday that lava had also destroyed a freshwater lake, boiling away all of the water. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A prison rights group protests the treatment of supervillains in the nation's magnetic detainment cubes. A local dad thought he could make it out of a zoo without buying his kids light-up shit, and a pigeon wishes just once it could complete a head movement smoothly. This is the Onion Week in Review. Millions of frustrated Americans across the country asked this week why the nation's struggling mental health system couldn't just get it together and stop feeling sorry for itself. Exasperated citizens told reporters that they had lost all patience with the ailing network's failure to perform basic tasks, such as routine mental health evaluations and emergency counseling.
Look, I get it. Everyone goes through a rough patch. Just look at the education system. I know times are tough, but things are never going to improve unless the system decides it wants to get better.
In other news, a new study finds that more men are opting to be in the room when their wife conceives their baby. An area man is unaware all of his friends think of him when they want to put things into perspective, and 3 dozen chemical and emotional responses are activated by the phrase pigs in a blanket.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll-free. If you want to join us on the radio waves, the number for you is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And our Skype username is LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark. Of course, you can bring up anything you want, but we're starting out tonight with the continuation of something we started last week. We only got through 3, I believe, of the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. And the reason why this was brought up is because somebody did an article about it, Mark, even though you've been wanting to talk about this for, I don't know, a couple of years on Free Talk Live. We just never really prioritized the discussion. And then since somebody wrote about it, it gave us an excuse to talk about it further here. And this is a revisitation in regards to the Communist Manifesto. We talked about it probably a decade ago on Free Talk Live, and we went through the list at that time. And if I recall correctly, we sort of collectively determined that
8.5.
There were 8.5 approximately of the 10 communist planks that had been implemented fully or thereabouts in the United States. And we got through almost through the first 3 here, which were public land, meaning that all land would be government owned, essentially.
Which it is. I mean, all land's government owned. If you believe you own your land, attempt to stop paying property taxes, and then you'll find out that you're just renting.
Now, we are. I've got a little chart here for the 3 of us in the studio here tonight, And so we're all kind of registering how we each feel about these. On public land, Melanie, you said you did not give them a point on this. I gave them half a point. And Mark, you gave half a point. Did you want to change that to 1 full point, or did you want to make that a half a point? Because it sounds like you believe that all land is government owned at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you basically, it's very difficult to own your own land. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah, I've got 1 point on that.
Okay, you're going to get changed to a full point. Got it. The number 2 on the list was progressive taxation, meaning that the more that the person earns, the higher their tax bracket. That is an example of a progressive tax, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So we all agreed, all three of us agreed, full point, that's fully implemented at this point in the United States.
Yeah, according to the Wall Street Journal, the top 20% of income earners in the U.S. will pay 87% of all income taxes this year.
And then number 3 is a 100% tax on inheritance. And I guess we didn't get through this one either. If we did, I didn't take full notes because I only wrote down Melanie with 0.75. You gave 0.75% of a full point for that one.
Yeah, I'd say that it's less than that for me. I mean, there is an
inheritance tax.
There is an inheritance tax.
But there are ways around it,
If they can put 1% on you, then they can put 50% on you or 100% on you. It doesn't really matter.
So what do you want to register on this then?
0.5.
0.5. All right.
Well, and considering going with the inheritance tax, there is a gift tax that gets around you getting around the inheritance tax.
And you are an accountant, by the way, so you know a thing or two about the taxes.
You could put things in trusts and stuff like that. I think that's effective in some way, right?
There are ways to get around some of it. You're not going to just completely dissolve it.
Yeah.
All right, so that catches us up. Let's continue on this list. And by the way, what's the source? Who gets credit for writing the article about this?
Joe Jarvis.
Oh,
and this is thedailybell.com.
He's been on our show before.
Confiscation of the property. These are in quotation
I'm going to give
marks.
half a point for inheritance, as you did.
Thanks. Quotation marks here. So this is directly out of the Communist Manifesto. Confiscation of the property of all immigrants, that's people leaving the country, and rebels. So,
yep.
Yeah, so there's an exit tax. Essentially, if you make enough money and you leave the country, they're going to take a good percentage. I believe it's close to 50%. Melanie, you'd probably know better than I, but it's
progressive, so it depends.
Yeah, it's darn.
But yeah, it's if you
punitive.
leave the U.S., the U.S. is under the impression that you are married to them, so you are divorcing the U.S.
Yep.
If you leave them, they're going to leave with half.
I don't recall marrying the United States.
Well, I said they are under the impression.
Yeah,
yeah, you're a child thereof, is the way they see it. The United States is the only country in the world. I hear North Korea too, but people don't really leave North Korea and make money. So effectively, the United States is the only country in the world that has an income tax where you've got to pay when you're not inside the jurisdiction.
Because you're still married to the U.S. according to them. Legally.
It's really weird. Now, arguably, any country could do this,
but
right?
They don't.
Germany could choose to say all Germans elsewhere have to pay income on everything that they make if they make over a certain amount or whatever they choose to say, but they don't. And it's interesting the United States does. So
that sounds like a full point.
It's certainly the confiscation of the property of immigrants and rebels. I'd say that's a full point. Yeah,
sure. I mean, if they don't like you, they can take your stuff for sure, right? There's also, look at drug confiscation, the asset forfeiture laws. Now, to some extent, asset forfeiture has been it hasn't been rolled back completely in some states, but
just had asset forfeiture story on the air last night.
Of somebody being victimized by it, you mean?
$58,000.
They had one on the show before this about 10 minutes ago. Okay. So, yeah, the asset forfeiture is not it's not applied uniformly. So it's not like, okay, well, these laws have asset forfeiture, these don't, and if it's over that, they're not necessarily outright saying you're a rebel, but it's we don't like you, we're taking your stuff, have a nice day.
Well, they just want your stuff in many cases.
By default, somebody who is committing a crime is rebelling against the system, right? Like whether that's their intention or not. If you're growing marijuana, you're rebelling against those laws. You don't care what the laws say.
I wouldn't say that. I think motives matter there. But yeah, if you do something they don't like, they're going to take your stuff.
Yep.
If you leave, they're going to take your stuff. If you move out and just separate from the U.S. and don't renounce your citizenship, that's like, not a divorce.
Separation.
A separation, and they're going to take half your stuff. So,
Right.
yeah.
All right, so are we all giving one full point on
Yes.
confiscation of
pretty
property?
much. If you talk loudly enough against the United States government, you're going to get some kind of trouble or another. And, yes, absolutely.
Number 5.
Number 5, centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly.
Oh, they've had that since not day one, but pretty
The Federal
early
Reserve
on.
System
Yeah.
would qualify as that, correct?
The Federal Reserve System is only about 100 years old, but there was a central bank before that. It's like from the second or third president.
So that one's been rock solid for more than 100 years at this point, since 1913 at least, and then you say even before that.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve isn't actually state-owned. It's not a state-owned central bank. But it's darn
that's
close.
debatable, and their position, their very new position, is that they are a government agency now after
Really?
100 years of claiming not to be, yeah.
This is an official statement by the Federal Reserve?
It's a statement from the Federal Reserve. I don't know if they will consistently hold to that, but that is what they have now said.
Okay, so read that one more time for me, just because it was a little involved.
Centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly. Can you, as far as issuance of money, you can issue money, but you can't issue legal tender.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what they're talking about.
That's their monopoly, is that the legal tender laws say that you have to accept their money as all payments on debts, public or private.
Right.
And it says that on the Federal Reserve notes, your dollars that are in the wallet that you probably have.
Yeah.
You can look there, and it actually says that on it. And certainly they have a control of overall banking. There's no bank that exists without being part of the Federal Reserve System. You can't do that. If you try to open up, remember years ago we had one of our co-hosts, Wayne, told us about a warehouse bank that somebody tried to open, and they were subsequently raided in order to protect the monopoly. So even though there are different banks that you can go open up an account at, an individual or business account,
It's all the Federal Reserve if you're located in the U.S.
they're all controlled by the Federal Reserve. They're all regulated by the Federal Reserve. They exist at the pleasure of that
the
system.
monopoly is not the issue I have with that, because banking is pretty much just immoral as is.
Banking is immoral?
Yes.
I'd like to hear more about that, just as an aside. And so are we granting a full point, all three of us, on that one?
Yes.
Okay, more coming up here in moments with the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you dial toll free, bring up anything that you want. We're talking about the Communist Manifesto and the 10 planks of said manifesto. We're analyzing each plank one by one and determining whether or not they've been implemented here in the United States. We're through about half of them at this point. We're going to continue here, and then we'll give you the grand total of what we believe, how many of them have been implemented fully and or partially in the U.S. With you in the studio tonight, by the way, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
Blink Home Security System is a very affordable home security system and very easy to install because it's wireless. You don't have to deal with running wires, drilling holes, pulling wires through walls, and all that crap. It's just super easy. You unbox the equipment, you put the batteries in, you put the cameras up wherever you want, and then you set it all up wirelessly with your favorite device, maybe your smartphone or tablet, via the Blink Home Security System. It's super easy to do. I've done it. Mark, you've done it. And you're not even a tech guy. And
no,
you
it's
were able
easy.
to do this.
It's easy. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, blinkprotect.com/FTL. Get you an extra 15% off the already very affordable Blink Protect system. Go to blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. As we continue here, we're going to continue the 10 communist planks, but number 5 was the national bank plank, which, of course, we all agree that has been implemented per the Federal Reserve System. And basically complete state control over an official monopoly currency. Now, that's not to say you can't have a different currency. So somebody could quibble on this one, I think. Like, well, if you want to have Bitcoin and use Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency, you can do that. That's not prohibited in the United States. You can still print your own private currency. So coupons, for instance, are a good example of private issued currency, Disney bucks or whatever, that kind of thing. Those are private currencies. So those
generally they're not accepted widely, and so therefore they're not much of a there's not much competition against the U.S. dollar.
True.
For instance,
and they're not legal tender.
OPEC isn't defining the sale of oil by Disney bucks or anything like that. So it really comes down to how threatened are they. So the Communist Manifesto is Karl Marx suggesting that we can implement communism through socialism. Right? Socialism being defined as state ownership of the means of production. His idea is that we make the state so efficient, so broad, so encompassing that finally it just withers away. This makes no sense to me, mind you. I'm not a Marxist, so don't expect me.
Well, there is a violent revolution in there somewhere.
There always is. You're not going to get the means of production from people for free.
To be fair, like that's one of the things that I don't disagree with him on. At no point is Janet Yellen or whoever her successor is now, I think she retired, gonna stand up and be like, "Oh, my bad. Okay, I guess I lost. I'll go home now and get a real job." That is not gonna happen.
No.
So yeah, if you want them gone, you have to make them gone.
Well,
whether you're on the right side or the wrong side is, a separate issue.
I think you can outcompete them, but yes, I understand the point. A lot of human history is defined through revolution. There's no doubt about it.
All right, so I wanted to hear Melanie explain a little bit further before we continue with the other 5 communist planks. You said banking is immoral. And I want to know what you mean by that.
What people mean when they say banking, kind of, because I don't think that they know that they mean this. But what is generally understood as banking is fractional reserve banking. If it's not fractional reserve banking, it's really just deposit security boxes.
All right, well, let's talk about fractional reserve because people may not know what that means.
Yeah, so fractional reserve in practice is, in the United States, the Federal Reserve prints some money, loans it to the U.S. and subsidiary banks. So first of all, the national debt is higher than all of the, at least, U.S. currency in circulation. And then the banks...
So it's impossible to pay the debt.
Right. And then there's like tiers of banks, and the banks at the top get the money first, and then are allowed, and there's a set percentage of what they're allowed to do. They're allowed to loan out whatever the set percentage is higher than what they actually have in reserves.
Isn't it like 9 times as much or some ridiculous...
Last time I checked, it was like 10 times, but I don't really keep up with the...
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
essentially the little banks are authorized by the Federal Reserve System to create their own money in the form of these loans that they're giving to people that don't actually have backing in their vault. They don't have the actual funding to give these loans.
Yeah, they never had
out.
the money. They just kind of created it out of thin air.
Right. Just like the Federal Reserve created the thin air, the money out of the thin air that they give to the banks on a loan in the first place, then the banks get to loan out X times that amount.
Yeah, it's fraudulent, and to the extent that it's not fraudulent, you would never be able to do this without having some sort of law or without having some sort of force to back up that people have to take your currency. Because if I'm just sitting in the back of my shed just like printing out Melanie dollars, nobody's going to take that. Even if I have it to where I can sustain some kind of value, if Bitcoin did that and Bitcoin was just like, yep, we loan out somehow more Bitcoin than we have, it would cease to have value. You can't do that absent a military
Monopoly,
or a
force.
Police force.
Okay. I agree with you on the point about fractional reserve banking. I agree. Most people don't know what it is, and what it is absolutely fraudulent. So we're on the same page.
But I think that that's the same as... I don't think there's any type of banking other than that, because if it's something other than that, then it's just warehousing or deposit boxes or something like that.
There's something more. So a bank can be an organization that, not only gives loans, but takes loans, essentially like a loan broker. So, for instance, I could be a bank, and I could have, you and 500 of your friends all have accounts that average out to about $1,000. And I offer you 2% on your money, right? And you give me that $1,000. But I stipulate you must give me that $1,000 for a period of time.
Right. They have CDs, for instance, in the world of banking, certificates of deposit.
So CD, like a CD, 6 months, I give you 2%. 1 year, I give you 2.2%. Yep. 5 years, I give you 2.5%. And obviously, there'd be competition in the marketplace. We'd find out what the right amount for deposits, interest is, and that sort of thing. Then I take that money
and you loan it out.
I loan it out at 5, 6, or 7%, right?
Hopefully to somebody with a good business plan.
Right, hopefully. Yeah. But I take that risk.
Right.
That's the risk I'm taking because, if somebody's not going to pay their stuff back, but ultimately, I've got to give you your money back when the time comes.
Which would also make loans more expensive, which is a good thing, by the way.
Right. Well, so that's what I think people believe banking is. And
yeah, I think most people do. The first time I heard, it was actually my econ
But
professor.
there's nothing wrong with what Mark just said. There's nothing immoral.
That's not a bank. That might be a loan. Even if you were doing that, even the U.S. government would not classify you as a bank. They would classify you as a loan institution or some kind of other financial institution. So even the Federal Reserve agrees with me that that's not what banking is.
Okay. I mean, I guess people don't. There's what people consider to be a bank, and then there's what you're defining as a bank.
Because there are companies like that, payday loan companies and stuff like that, operate in that way. They don't have
take
fractional
deposits.
reserves.
Payday loan corporations, they're using their own money, aren't they?
Well, they got a deposit of the investors.
The investors,
Yeah,
but you're talking about average people.
But nobody
coming in.
looks at that as a bank. They don't understand
It is
how
banking.
I don't think it is.
All right, well, let's continue here in moments. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves, and you can bring up whatever's on your mind here on Free Talk Live. And also, Skype username, LRN.FM. You can join us here.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
You have been lied to, generation after generation, time after time after time.
If you follow the money, then you understand why America's in the condition it's in.
You created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11. Through 9/11, you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie.
This book will open people's eyes. Order now at killingunclesambook.com. killingunclesambook.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free and bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
We're going to continue on the Communist Manifesto, the 10 planks. We're going through them one by one to see how many of them have been implemented here in the United States. Of course, you're welcome to call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. Do want to let you know that Omaha Steaks is back with Free Talk Live, just in time for Father's Day.
It's a great advertiser for us, I'll tell you. We got a lot of...
Any advertiser that feeds us is always a great advertiser.
Yeah, we got a lot of fathers that listen to the show, though.
Sure.
And a lot of fathers that eat meat.
Absolutely. That probably describes a good portion of them, as a matter of fact. But even if you're not into meat, Omaha Steaks actually has a huge selection of different food types. But, of course, they're known for their meat. They're known for their steaks. Very high-quality products. In fact, hand-trimmed, flash-frozen, vacuum-sealed meats delivered directly to your door in an Omaha Steaks cooler. But they've also got a variety like pork, poultry, veal, lamb, bison, seafood, and vegetables. The highest quality cuts with one-of-a-kind flavor, and of course aged for 21 days to unlock the full flavor and tenderness of the cuts. Now, they're making a special offer, of course, for Father's Day here, and you need to know how to get this deal. You use code FTL, like Free Talk Live, when you go to omahasteaks.com, and here's what you're going to get at 78% off on this limited time offer. Get ready, because it's a lot of stuff here. 2 tender filet mignons, 2 beefy top sirloins, 4 chicken fried steaks, 2 boneless pork chops, 4 all-beef Omaha steak burgers, 4 gourmet jumbo franks, 12 ounces of all-beef meatballs, 1 pound of steakhouse fries, 4 caramel apple tartlets, and 1 Omaha Steak seasoning packet. Plus, they'll also throw in another 4 grill-ready Omaha Steaks burgers with the purchase. So that's a lot of meat. And for $49.99 when you use code FTL, like Free Talk Live, in the search bar at omahasteaks.com. And we've had the pleasure of having, it's the third year, I think, Omaha Steaks has been on board with us. And, of course, we always get the pleasure of experiencing this package that they send to us, and it's delicious. I mean,
it's omahasteaks.com?
omahasteaks.com.
Okay.
That's right.
By the way, last night Chris Reitman said he was going to get this package. He's like, that's a lot of meat for that price.
For $49.99. It's the Father's Day package. All you got to do is type FTL into the search bar, and that'll get you access to that deal. Now, again, you don't have to stop there. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can get through Omaha Steaks, but that will definitely get you started, get you good sampling of the various different products that they've got, and Dad's going to love it. I mean, plain and simple. How could he not?
It's good. It's good meat. It's a good choice. And I got to say, whether it's the filet or even the hot dogs, they're all high quality. The hot dogs you kind of usually with butcher shop hot dogs, you can tell they're high quality because there's more of a sort of firmness to the casing that goes around the hot dog, and these are just like that.
omahasteaks.com, code FTL. Get your dad something he's going to love for Father's Day. As we continue here, of course, you can bring up what you want. We've been talking about banking. Melanie, you were defining bank very narrowly as essentially a tool of the Federal Reserve System that you find offensive, and I agree. I think all of us agree with that.
Well, not people, but entities that don't engage in fractional reserve banking don't even call themselves banks.
Well, because they can't legally. I mean, you cannot go and open up Melanie's bank and offer banking services to people like, and again, according to the definition, which I pulled up on dictionary.com, this isn't a legal definition, but this is the dictionary definition of it. Bank is simply defined, number one, as an institution for receiving, lending, exchanging, and safeguarding money, and in some cases issuing notes and transacting other financial business. So by that statement, in theory, somebody could open up their own bank that does those things, but the men with guns from the federal government will come in and put a stop to that because they do have a monopoly on that particular service.
So even though they have the IP on that word, so if you go to the store, there is a product called Kleenex, but people still generally understand things other than that one company to be Kleenex.
Right, facial tissues.
But that's not how banking works. People don't understand the word bank to mean any honest business. They might think that a bank is honest, but there's no other business other than subsidiaries of the Federal Reserve in the U.S.
that practice fractional reserve banking.
Subsidiaries of the Federal Reserve in the U.S. or of whatever other central bank in those other countries, that there's nothing else other than those entities that people think of as banks. So then in English, that's what a bank is.
Yeah, she's making a semantic argument, and it's pretty sound.
It's a legal argument.
It's really not a legal argument.
Well,
we're not talking about English.
Legality is all about semantics, right?
Right. But legalities or legalese, they can define things differently.
Legally, only the one company makes Kleenex. But nobody thinks of it that way.
That's because they've been so successful in marketing their product, just like a Xerox isn't a copy. People call them Xeroxes, though, because Xerox has been so successful. Kleenex has been so successful in marketing its product that people have adopted the trademarked name of that company as the name of the generic product.
So
it's incredible.
The Federal Reserve holds the IP, from what you're saying, on the word bank.
IP being intellectual property.
Yeah,
effectively the IP.
Whatever company it is holds the IP on the word Kleenex, but that can deviate from what in English people think of as Kleenex or what people think of as a bank.
But when people think of a bank, they don't think of the fractional reserve system, as you already admitted.
Because they don't know what it is, but they think of the entities that engage in that. They don't think of payday loan companies or investment companies or loan companies or credit card companies.
Well, because payday loan companies do one thing. They don't do the full service of spectrum, right? So a payday loan company at the most is taking investor funds and loaning that out at insane rates, usually like, 30% or something like that. It's ridiculous.
But you can have a loan company without being a bank, but people don't think of those as real banks.
Holding customer funds and loaning those customer funds out frequently. That's what people think of when they think of banks, even though they're usually doing the Federal Reserve thing.
If you're going to operate under the assumption that if you're going to operate within the system that has essentially a cartel, that's what the Federal Reserve Bank is, a cartel, you're going to operate within that system, you're going to call yourself a bank underneath that those sets of rules, that Melanie's critique is fair. I would say that likely you could open up a business and call that business a bank, and you could offer services similar to a bank, but you would simply...
Not in the United States. You're going to get raided.
I don't think you will.
Wayne was on the air with us a decade ago telling us he knew somebody personally who opened up a warehouse bank and was raided.
I'd like to hear more about that before I just go ahead and accept that.
I took his word for it.
Right. I understand.
Yeah. Well, and whether he got raided does not necessarily therefore mean that everybody that does the same thing will get raided.
Well, why don't you try it out and see what happens?
I think that it's likely, but
you're damn right it's likely.
Well, here's the reason I wouldn't do it. Is because you're not going to make any money. Nobody's going to come into your business and say, hey, can I get one of those high-priced loans that you've got? Right? I mean, there's no opportunity to make money because the Federal Reserve creates money out of thin air and allows its subsidiaries to do the same.
Okay, so loans are one service that a bank offers. Another service is the holding of money in a secure manner. So some people are willing to pay for that, if they don't want to keep all their money under their mattress, for instance.
Tell me exactly who's lost their money in a bank in the United States in the last decade? In the last 5 decades?
I don't understand why you're asking that question.
Because that's what you're. Because if you're asking
secure.
Me to compete,
they have the free secure or mostly free secure option. You would have to charge significantly more to run a checking account service. Therefore, you're not going to be able to do it.
You can't compete. Yeah, you can't compete with a monopoly is what you're saying.
Well, it's not that you can't compete with a monopoly. You can't compete with somebody who's operating below cost.
Yeah. No, I see that. But again, that doesn't mean that they're going to even allow you to try to compete.
I don't know that they would or wouldn't.
You try offering financial services without getting government approval for that. You're going to jail.
Oh yeah, if you run
from one
black
bank to another?
market financial services, you're definitely going to jail. That doesn't mean that you can't go get a license to do certain things. And
I could open up a store that has safe deposit boxes all over the place. I mean, let's be serious.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up anything you want. We'll continue. We'll resume the Communist Manifesto planks here in moments, and you can bring up anything. It's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free if you want to join us here. We're talking. We're going to get back into the Communist Manifesto. We got 5 more planks to go through here on the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. How many of them have been implemented fully or partially in the United States? I'm doing a running tally here. We'll review that in just a few moments. With you tonight, by the way, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
And also, please don't forget to visit our website over at freetalklive.com. We got a lot of features there, including our webcam. You can go to cam.freetalklive.com, and you'll see we've got the Twitch webcam built right into the page. We are still available on YouTube, but in much lower resolution. In fact, Twitch, we're at 720p, progressive scan, very nice looking picture quality. On YouTube, it's only 360 lines, so a fraction of the resolution there. The Twitch audio quality is very, very good compared to YouTube. I mean, it's just a better experience. So you get to choose, but if you go to cam.freetalklive.com, we've pretty much chosen for you and put the Twitch feed into that page. So hello to everybody out there watching us on the cams. We sure do appreciate it. Recently, having upgraded in the studio to fancier cameras from Logitech with 60 frames per second. You probably won't be able to really tell because, we're not moving that fast.
It's just Ian's geeky preferences.
Yeah. So, I mean, Twitch allows that, so I wanted to make sure that we could do it, and we can. Plus, every now and then there's some video game streaming that goes on our Twitch channel, and the fast-paced games look better in 60 frames per second. So we can do that now, and you can watch for free. Unlike those other talk shows who charge you to watch their cam feeds, ours is free. Just go to cam.freetalklive.com, or you can just go straight to our Twitch channel and watch us through twitch.lrn.fm. If you are on Twitch, we'd appreciate it if you followed us. Thank you for that if you do, because that means you'll get notices. Sometimes I'll see people in the Discord chat saying, oh, they just got their notice from Twitch that we're on the air. They would have forgotten otherwise. So you get a little ding on your phone if you got the Twitch app installed and your notifications turned on.
It comes in your email, too.
Or you can do email versions if you prefer that, too. And so Twitch has been great. We've been on there since January on that particular platform. Again, it's twitch.lrn.fm, gets you straight to our Twitch channel. And if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you may not be aware, but you get a free Twitch subscription every single month, but you have to assign it every month to the channel you prefer. So if you like us and you want to help us out with that, then you can assign your Twitch subscription to Free Talk Live. If you go to twitch.lrn.fm and scroll down just below the video feed, you'll see some text information, and there's details in there and a link on how to connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and it's actually pretty easy. And then you just hit the subscription link at the top of the video feed, and you're good to go. And then you get ad-free viewing, or at the very least ad-free as far as Twitch's ads. They won't interfere with your viewing of the LRN channel there, which also includes the Call to Freedom, which is our afternoon drive show on LRN.FM. So check that out at twitch.lrn.fm, and thank you in advance. As we continue here, let's get back into it. The 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. Mark, Joe Jarvis wrote up a piece, and I forget which website it was on, but you've got it pulled up.
Yeah, it's on the Daily Bell, and, it's a long-running libertarian site.
Okay.
Number 6, centralization of the means of communication and transport in the hands of the state. So, I mean, I guess that's, I don't know, centralization. We've got, let's see what Joe Jarvis has to say about it. The FCC, the FTC, the DOT, the FAA, the TSA, the CPB. Oh, it's an alphabet soup of communications and transport regulations. And they regulate the phone lines, the railroads, the air traffic, the rails, the mail, and package delivery. It's nothing new. Around the same time Marx was writing the manifesto, Lysander Spooner was doing something productive with his time. He started the American Letter Mail Company to compete with the U.S. Postal Service. He undercut their prices and provided better customer service, but was fined and cited for breaking laws which protected the government monopoly. He was forced out of business in 1851. Yeah, I mean, is there centralization of the means of communication and transport in the United States? I'd say not on paper, but effectively. Where is the deviance in the message as far as communications go, media goes?
What do you mean, the deviance?
Well, if you listen to news channel after news channel after news channel, they all sound the same.
Well, the non-internet entities are licensed, so that is official and on paper. The internet is new. They're still trying to kind of figure out what to do with that. the fact that they temporarily lost their grip on something because the internet got invented, to me, doesn't make it not centralized. I mean, I'm glad the internet exists and everything, but they're still working on it. So, yeah, I'm going to have to give that a full point.
Okay, Melanie's giving that one a full point. Mark, your thoughts on that one?
It's pretty darn centralized. I guess I want to say 0.25. Like they would.
0.25 isn't pretty darn centralized.
0.75 is what I meant to say.
0.75.
But that's only because that's the effect, not the desire. The state would love to control. The United States federal government would love to control the message, and effectively they do control the message. So, I'm giving the 0.25 off because you can get around the message. You can hear more. And Free Talk Live is on the air on almost 200 radio stations across the country. So
yeah. I'm going to meet you guys sort of in the middle. I'm going to do 0.5 on this one. I tend to agree the FCC is a huge centralizing factor when it comes to mainstream media. I mean, they regulate cable television, they regulate broadcast airwaves, and before the internet, those were the ways that people got their information, besides newspapers. And I mean, you could argue that the government doesn't regulate newspapers, so, I mean, there's some wiggle room on that one.
Newspapers aren't allowed to own radio stations.
That's changing, actually. I believe they've repealed that rule, and now newspapers can own radio stations.
Only because newspapers are dying.
That's correct. That is the
radio,
reason.
And radio isn't what it used to be.
That's true, but they've repealed that rule. The FCC exists. It is a terrible organization that is absolutely anti-freedom of speech and has for years, of course, raided pirate radio operations, people who have had the gumption and the huevos to go ahead and put their own message on the air, their favorite music on the air. They have been targeted for raids and threats by the FCC and their goon squads, and the police usually, of course, work with them in that, of course, in two states, New York and Florida, there are actual laws that have been passed against operating pirate radio stations. And as we speak right now, there is legislation in Washington, D.C., I believe it's called the Pirate Act, that is proposing to criminalize on a national level the usage of transmitting equipment without government permission.
And that's really only because the FCC has been gutted to the point that they don't have enough money to run their own regulation scheme themselves, so they're effectively turning it over to law enforcement, and law enforcement won't go after anything if it's not already a felony. Like, they don't even enforce misdemeanors, basically.
I believe it's a misdemeanor in New York and Florida, and law enforcement does go along with the FCC on raids, and they will arrest you for it.
Sure. I'm just saying that you're not going to get their attention.
So the FCC is big, and then he also talked about transport. We've seen certainly DMVs all around every single state. They have a high level of control over the roadways. I mean, that is one of the most regulated places in the United States is the roads. That's where you're more likely to encounter a police officer. The average person probably has had an encounter.
Yeah, but it's a privilege. It's a privilege for you to have to pay for the roads, to build the roads, to have them out in front of your house. It's a privilege to be able to go on them. You've got to pay for them, but it's a privilege to be able to go on them.
Well, and it's the defense for statism. It's the number one thing people say, well, the roads. So
if we didn't have the state, then what about
I don't think they can even argue that they haven't centralized roads when it's their core excuse for existing.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go up to 0.75 as Mark did here, but I'm giving it a half a point simply because of the internet. So even though roads are totally controlled, even though the FCC owns the airwaves, I think the internet is such a big development as far as personal communication is concerned that it has allowed so much information to get into people's hands that can potentially be deadly to the status quo and to the state. I think the internet's so important. I mean, obviously the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, this is one of the flowers, the fruits of the internet that is changing finance, that's undermining the number 5, the one of the national bank. So I'm only going to give it half a point on this because of the internet. Otherwise, it'd be full on. It'd be full on 100%. If there was no internet, I would have said, yes, they've got that under lock.
Yeah, but I guess my argument against what you're saying is this is not the internet doesn't exist because the government wanted you to have more freedom.
It exists in spite of the government.
In spite of it.
And
right?
the fact is, the government doesn't know what to do about it.
That
cat's out of the bag, and
well, the cat's largely out of the bag.
it's out of the bag. I mean, yes, the government in theory could shut the internet down with enough violence and force, but the government uses the internet too. Yep. And so the idea that would ever happen in the United States seems so unbelievable. It seems so unbelievable because it would be such a dramatic change to how life is lived now. Everybody relies on this.
They've got the internet in China.
Well, a version of it.
Yeah.
A highly censored version.
Just saying.
And they could bring censorship down in the United States too. But until that happens, I'm going to give it a half a point.
Do we know that they haven't?
There's more coming up here. 855 450 free like freedom. You can still get on the dark web in the United States. 855 450 3733.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-261-9818 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-261-9818. Again, 800-261-9818.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, June 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.50 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,296 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $27, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,526. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. war in Afghanistan continues to go poorly, and the latest data on casualties underscores just how rapidly things are worsening. In May, 1,762 people were killed and 1,190 were wounded. That's an increase of 42% over the previous month. Some of this reflects the continued ratcheting up of the Taliban's spring offensive, but the offensive was already going for much of April, and unlike in early years of the war, there isn't the same winter lull that used to precede the new offensives. U.S. troops are deep into their 16th year in Afghanistan, and while Pentagon brass continues to make vague claims of progress and turning the corner, Afghan forces control less territory than ever, and U.S. troop deployments are less about winning at this point and just slowing the rate of losses. Even the capital city of Kabul is practically under siege, with heavy casualty attacks happening disturbingly often. The ability to travel around the country is virtually non-existent, with U.S. forces relying less on convoys and taking helicopters most places they need to go in the name of safety. General John Nicholson, the U.S. commander, said infiltrating Kabul is easier than we would like, but other than throwing more troops at the problem, they don't seem to have any idea how to fix the problem. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports fires in California, Colorado, and New Mexico continued to burn thousands of acres over the weekend. New Mexico's Ute fire grew to 31,930 acres on Sunday as forecast of strong thunderstorms in the area raised concerns about flash flooding on burn scars and the possibility of lightning strikes causing even more fires, according to the New Mexico State Forestry Division. A mandatory evacuation was ordered for residents of Ute Park on Saturday night. The community of Cimarron was also placed under mandatory evacuations as the blaze threatened 296 structures in the area. About 14 outbuildings were destroyed in the Philmont Scout fire as a result of that fire. Firefighters conducted successful burn operations on Saturday and formed a dozer line around the Ute Park to protect the community from the fire. The Rocky Mountain Blue Team said Fire 416 in Colorado grew to 2,255 acres and was about 10% contained on Sunday. The team assumed command over the 416 fire early Sunday morning and planned to check for hotspots and reopen Highway 550. Firefighters in Colorado said forecasted storms could help dampen the fire, but warned increased winds and lightning could make battling the blaze more difficult and spark even new fires. Evacuations for 1,500 residents also remained in effect, according to the La Plata County government. Most evacuation orders for Laguna Beach were lifted Sunday as firefighters continued to combat brush fires. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. Reuters reports 3 people were airlifted to safety on Sunday morning as lava from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano threatened an isolated area where they had become trapped. The 2 men and a woman became the latest in a series of evacuations on Hawaii's Big Island, forced by the volcano, which has been erupting since May 3rd. On Saturday, National Guard troops, police, and firefighters ushered evacuees from homes on the eastern tip of the island hours before lava cut off road access to the area, according to officials. A stream of lava as wide as 3 football fields flowed over a highway near a junction at Kapoho, a seaside community rebuilt after a destructive eruption of Kilauea in 1960. Officials said about a dozen people remain in the area, but it is not clear whether they are in the neighborhoods that are immediately threatened by the lava. The Hawaii Volcano Observatory reported late on Saturday that lava had also destroyed a freshwater lake, boiling away all of the water. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review, pushed to the breaking point after constantly being taken to task without ever hearing a word of thanks for what it does around here. An overwhelmed and infuriated nation announced Wednesday that it was trying, okay? Jesus Christ. A poll of the American populace revealed that 33% felt they were doing pretty damn well, all things considered, while another 28% just wanted 2 measly minutes without somebody breathing down their damn neck. A group of female friends spent a raucous night on the town Thursday, validating the living shit out of each other.
You're the most talented person I know.
Eyewitness reports say the women absolutely went to town on a session of non-judgmental reassurances.
Last night was crazy. I don't even remember half the uplifting things I said to Karen. We've always been the kind of group that listens hard and consoles even harder.
And in other news, a group of semester at sea students steal an anchor for their dorm room. A 5-year-old wants to be an overworked Haitian nanny when he grows up, and every group of friends at a karaoke bar ruins every other group's night.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. As always, you're invited to join us on the radio waves here. Our toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
We are talking about the Communist Manifesto, the 10 planks of said manifesto. We're going through plank by plank and determining individually, and I'm charting it. I've been making notes here as to who says what of our panel. Individually, what do we think? Are these planks implemented? Are they fully implemented? Are they partially implemented? And just a quick recap here for you before we continue on. Joe Jarvis wrote up a piece at the Daily Bell on the topic, which is what sparked the conversation in the first place. Number one is government control of land. And we disagreed firmly on that one. Melanie said nope. I said halfway, and Mark, you said full on. Number two, progressive tax, meaning that there's different levels of taxation per your income. And we all agreed fully that that's implemented fully in the United States. Number three was an inheritance tax, so 100% tax on inheritance. And Melanie gave that one a 0.75. I gave it half, and Mark, you gave it half. Number four, confiscation of property of immigrants, people leaving the United States, and rebels. We all agreed that's fully implemented in the United States. Number five, a national bank with a monopoly on currency. We all agreed that's fully implemented in the United States per the Federal Reserve System. And then we finished up just now, number six, the centralization of communication and transport, with some level of disagreement between the hosts. Melanie, you said that's full-on implemented. I said halfway, and Mark, you said 0.75 on that one.
That's right.
That brings us up to speed. Let's go with number seven.
Indeed. This is coming from the Daily Bell, written by Joe Jarvis.
Originally from the Communist Manifesto.
Yep. Extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state, the bringing into cultivation of wastelands, and the improvement of the soil generally in accordance with a common plan. So,
okay, factories owned by extension of factories. What do you think that means? The extension of factories owned by the state.
I don't know what that means exactly, but the state certainly dabbled in the United States government certainly dabbled in the ownership of factories, and that governments do that around the world. I would say that
certainly Venezuela is an example of where it's full on. I mean, they're taking over industries left and right and running them into the ground. We don't have that problem in the United States generally.
But the U.S. Government decided to get involved in the economic downturn in basically Chrysler deciding to sell it off to Fiat. Do you remember all this?
The bailouts, you mean?
Yeah, the bailouts, but they came with stipulations. That's heavy involvement
in that industry.
Deciding
yes,
who gets to own what, and basically they did it in order to salvage the pension plans of the factory workers who were big Democratic supporters.
Okay, so the other part of that, I'm sorry, just real quick, it was factories run by the state, and then what? Farmland?
The bringing into cultivation of wastelands and improvement of the soil generally in accordance with a common plan. So government control.
So EPA?
Basically the government control of land specifically for the purpose of food production. I'd say the state doesn't feel like it needs to do that. The government doesn't feel like it needs to do that, so it generally doesn't do that. Okay. But it certainly controls the land. I mean, how about
because as we pointed out
Bureau
earlier,
of Land Management and the Bundy Ranch standoff?
They control farming pretty heavily to the point where in some places they basically tell you what you can plant.
We did just read a story days ago about the raw milk raids happening in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, California has droughts not because it's horrible land, but because they try to do things like plant rice in places that don't flood. So,
plus the government manages the water as well, right? Like government provides the water, so if you want
they
mismanaged resources, put the government in charge of it,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Melanie, what do you think on this one here? The factory ownership / government control of land.
Yeah, so the second one you definitely have. The first one, I mean, there were bailouts to pensions. They stole the steel mills that one time. That's not to me the same thing as full socialization of all factories. So no on the first one and yes on the second one.
So you're
going to
give
half
a point?
It's going to decide. Well, it's certainly not full socialization, but it's heavy regulation. They decide what Boeing can't move from Washington to South Carolina because of the unions. So there should be. I mean, to understand that a factory exists and works completely at the behest of the federal government if they're successful enough.
Okay, well, that's true. I'm used to living in places that don't have unions. To me, that would matter how many states have unions versus don't. Because if you have a union, you're being told what to do, basically, until you go bankrupt and they bail you out.
Mark, how are you going to weigh in on this one?
I'm going to give it a point.
Full point.
Yeah, fine with it.
Okay, so factories owned by the state. Well, the factories aren't owned by the state. The state does not operate the factories. They do regulate.
It doesn't say owned.
Well, that just means they're
I
good
thought you said
at
owned.
it.
I was saying that they're not owned, that they're controlled. Extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state.
It does say
Extension of
owned.
factories, okay. Owned by the state. All right. Ownership is about control.
Control, yeah.
Right? Ownership is defined by control. If you do not control something, you do not own that thing.
True.
Like, you may think you own it. If you hand me your car and let me go out and do whatever I want with it, I control that car. I may choose to give it back to you. You may have a piece of paper that says you own it, but ownership and control, they're really very similar. So
this is a tough one, I feel like.
The government controls it, and controls it pretty heavily.
Yeah, I guess like,
0.75.
I'm trying to look it up, and I don't have enough information to make that determination. I'm going to say if most states have unions, then I'm going to go with yes. If most states don't, then no.
But whether or not they have a union, there's still regulations surrounding.
There are
running a factory,
regulations,
right?
but they're not
like OSHA.
like total control.
They're not deciding the products that can be offered, for instance, in a lot of cases.
If they don't have unions, no.
Yeah, I'm with Melanie on this. I'm going to give it a half point.
I was going to go 0.75. I think I got
You're
talked down a little bit.
readjusting down?
Yeah.
Okay, 0.75. Got it. Number 8.
Yep.
The Communist Manifesto, by the way, if you're just tuning in.
Yep. Equal liability of all to labor. Establishment of industrial armies, especially for agriculture. So
that sounds just like propaganda. What does that mean?
Well, industrial
Can we read what
armies.
Joe says about that?
Yeah, so yes, the Communist Manifesto proposes enslaving all those unwilling to work. Now, it might not seem like the U.S. government forces people to work, but you have to make money just to park your butt on a plot of land. Local governments want property tax, which means you have to make a certain amount of money just to have a place to live. Otherwise, you could conceivably save up for a piece of land, and once you buy it outright, you'd be done. But even renting has a built-in costs of property tax, and the fact that the government claims the authority to tax you on everything you earn basically means you have a liability to the labor for the government. If you want to labor at all, most of us cannot go through life without earning something to pay for the necessities. But we can't just earn what we need. We need to earn way more because the government wants to take a big chunk of our income. So we tend to think about taxes as a percentage of our income, but what about it as a percentage of our time? The government forces you to work as a slave from about January through April every year.
Yep.
In a typical career, you'd spend in total more than 14 full years working as a slave for the government.
God.
So,
all right, can you read the original plank?
Equal liability of all to labor. So everybody's got to work. Establishment of industrial armies, especially for agriculture. So
what does that mean?
Well, basically sending out press gangs to work the fields during harvest time is what that means.
That doesn't exist.
Well, no, it doesn't need to. But, I don't know what to tell you.
Equal liability, that's a very commie sounding thing, right?
Yep.
Like, from each according to his ability to each according to their need or whatever. I mean,
no, we've got a welfare state. I don't think we have this because this is the sort of thing that must have been you'd have to Marx was writing in the 1850s, right? The Industrial Revolution was just getting ramped up. So
he was in an
you're talking about
agricultural.
in 1815 here in the United States. I just remember the statistic. In 1815, the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, 85% of the U.S. Population was under the poverty level. So you weren't talking about a time that was particularly productive. Now, the United States government can do quite well just gleaning off of those willing to work and offering those not willing to work some kind of subsistence amount of money.
So you're going to say no on this one? Not implemented?
0.5.
No.
I'm going to say not implemented on this one.
Darn close to implemented.
All right. Well, that's a big difference then. All right, we can discuss more coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. blinkprotect.com/FTL to save 15%.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Good technology is good, but the philosophy behind the tech is important. And Zencash was made by voluntarists with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper. With no central authority or single point of failure, Zencash is more resilient than a traditional corporation. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in decision-making, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. And Zencash allows for secure private transactions. Learn more at zencash.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username is lrn.fm. We're talking about the Communist Manifesto. We got 2 more planks to go on the 10 planks. We're analyzing whether or not they have been implemented in the United States. Looks like the majority of them, or a good chunk of them, have been, and we'll get some totals going on a little bit later. We each have differing opinions slightly on some of these, on how far along the implementation of them is, and we'll continue that. It's Ian, Melanie, and Mark in the studio tonight. Do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. Maybe you've thought about getting involved in Bitcoin mining, but you looked into it, and the equipment is just so expensive, and you don't really know what you're doing. You know, if you're not a tech guru, server administrator, if you don't have the level of expertise that you need to be able to set this stuff up, it's pretty intimidating.
So what do? If you still want to get involved in mining, well, let the professionals handle it for you over at Bitcoin.com. They've got mining, professional, real operations with racks and servers and
all you do
administrators.
is buy in.
Yeah.
I think I was paid off in the first maybe 4.5 months.
Out of how long of a contract?
Lifetime.
Really?
But I don't think lifetimes are available anymore.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's available at the moment. I know they've had 12-month, or they had a 6-month. They got rid of that, and so I actually have not looked in a little bit. But
I can tell you this: if you want free Bitcoin Cash, you just go to free.bitcoin.com.
Oh, they got a faucet going on?
Yep.
So there's all kinds of cool stuff over at Bitcoin.com. But if you want to get involved in mining, yes, you do have to put an investment in over at pool.bitcoin.com. You can choose whether you want to do Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin Core. It is up to you. And there used to be different lengths of time. I suspect they've still got the 12-month thing going on because I do know they've opened them back up. For a little while, they didn't have anything available because they were just sold out. So go to pool.bitcoin.com. You can check out the details there and get involved in mining your favorite Bitcoin. So once again, Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin Core, it's up to you at pool.bitcoin.com. Let the professionals handle all the tough stuff for you. As we go to your calls and thoughts, you can bring up anything that you want. It's Tom in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Tom.
Good evening. A United States Senator Merkley of Oregon is recently in the news. He went on down to Brownsville, Texas, to check out the U.S. Border Patrol detention center because he is decrying the issue of people coming into the United States who are being apprehended, and they're separating the parents from the children.
Yeah.
And what they're failing to do, of course, is see they're watering down the message too much. If you actually support liberty, you got to tell it like it is, which is they have no right to restrict immigration at all.
At all. Yeah, that's for sure.
And that is where they've been messing up by watering it down too much on that issue. Now, I got a survey, junk mail, from the Heritage Foundation, and they are on the side of the enemies of liberty. This is a conservative group. Yeah, they're a so-called conservative group, but they're definitely anti-liberty on the immigration issue.
Mm-hmm.
And one line here says, "We, the people of the United States, have a right to determine how many immigrants we want to accept. We do this through our elected representatives." Okay, well, the first line is actually true. Okay, we do have a right to determine how many we want to accept. We just don't have a right to stop them. If you have a right and I have a right, and
right, each individual who has a piece of property can decide who they want to allow onto their piece of property. In a truly free place, in a libertarian world, property rights would be very paramount. In this case, these conservatives act as though they have control over all of the property in the United States, and they should get to decide who can come onto your property.
Right, and that's what it comes down to. It's not that that somebody should be able to go on your property and go into your house and start eating your food, which people love to use as an analogy for immigrants coming and giving away, taking advantage of giveaways. That's more of a problem with the giveaways. We have a problem with the welfare state, not a problem with immigration. And the point I would make on this is that if I can't invite an immigrant family to my house to stay for a little while, get a job, do whatever it is they want to do, work at my place, if I can't invite them to my house, then someone is infringing on my rights to be able to have guests, right? I mean, this is an agreement between two people.
Which is what they were doing to me when I wanted to bring my fiancée, who's now my wife, to the United States. But we don't have to want. See, there's a difference between want to accept. I mean, you don't have to want to accept them, but you do have no right to hire gun-toting goons in bulletproof vests to round them up and force them onto vehicles bound for foreign or aircraft bound for foreign countries. And then, of course, there's this garbage about how we do this through our elected representatives, but they're not elected by, I didn't vote for these creeps. I voted for the libertarians. And where it says we, the people of the United States, have a right. Okay, individuals have a right. If they're speaking of a people having a right, a people cannot determine. A people cannot think because a people doesn't have a mind of its own.
It's a collectivist mindset. And, some conservatives would like you to believe that they are, they are beyond that, but that's ridiculous. They obviously embrace collectivism, and you can argue against this idea that groups of people have rights by asking, well, if an individual has a right to do X, how is it that a group of those individuals together have a right to do X, Y, and Z? How do they get more rights by combining themselves together if all they ever had was the right to do X in the first place?
That just sounds like a really weird, cartoon superhero type thing. Just combine together and get more.
Right.
When I point something out here, can I point something out here where I'm taking what they say and I'm pointing out the obvious flaw or the hidden flaw in it. When we speak, when libertarians speak, and there's a flaw in it, rest assured that our opponents, who include our enemies and people who are not violence prone, just simply opposing what we're saying, they will point out the obvious flaws, such as how they take jobs that United States citizens don't want. Well, excuse me, United States citizens would be lining up for those meatpacking jobs if they paid more money, and of course they would pay more money if the meatpacking companies didn't have all these immigrants to pay lower wages for. So there is the flaw in that line of reasoning. We don't need to use bad reasoning like that when we have perfectly good, valid reasoning that we can use instead.
Tom, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. And, of course, if they have to pay more for the meatpacking jobs, guess what? The price of meat goes up. So, then
those Omaha steaks are going to get more expensive.
All of the steaks everywhere are going to get more expensive, and nobody wants to see prices go up, but yet they want to, ensure that Americans can get those jobs.
Well,
so they hold
what Americans want
views.
is they want to benefit from the cost of foreign labor without having to deal with the importation of that labor into this country. So
but they even don't want that either. They want to shut. Some of them want to have total protectionism to lock down the borders.
But most Americans don't want that. But some of them do. Some of them want to lock down the borders to imports
and mandate,
too. And then you would find out what it costs to be self-sufficient and what it costs.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it would drive your family into poverty. Is what it would.
So we got more coming up here. Whether you want to talk about immigration, or we'll continue, of course, the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto on the way here. This is Free Talk Live.
Cancer categorizes over 100 diseases. Though we do not diagnose, treat, or cure cancer, GCN team is offering the Clemson University study where there was up to a 95% reduction in cancerous cells when exposed to a plant-derived mineral supplement. If you or a loved one are searching for answers to this horrifying disease, come to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. We'll email you a copy for free. That's 877-878-4203.
We call it the crapper, water closet, outhouse, or bathroom. But where do you go when there's nowhere to go? The answer is the Biffy Bag. The Biffy Bag is a pocket-sized disposable toilet that fits in your glove box, tackle box, toolbox, backpack, or purse. The Biffy Bag has everything you need for a sanitary and comfortable relief experience. It's ready to use in just seconds, and just toss it in the trash when you're done. It's your Biffy in a jiffy. BiffyBag.com. BiffyBag.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and join us here on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
Mentioned to you earlier that Melanie is an accounting professional. That's what she does. She's hung out her shingle over the last year or so to allow our listeners and others who want to have a real professional accountant who's also an anarchist who hates the government. Hiring Melanie to do your taxes, to do your bookkeeping, is a smart idea because she not only hates the government, she also sort of strangely enjoys reading their laws. So you are into this stuff. You actually know the law. You read it. You know it like the back of your hand. And folks who want to have assistance with their bookkeeping and their taxes really ought to get in touch with you. Right, Melanie?
Yeah, so most people don't have taxes coming up anytime soon, although some quarterly payments are, quote, due on the 15th if you have that. Otherwise, I do tax planning, which most people call bookkeeping, kind of make sure everything's straight for when you get robbed next year.
This was very helpful to me. And
you said it paid for itself.
Yeah, it did. Right off.
Yeah.
First go round.
So that seems like a real smart move, and I've heard, have not heard anything bad about your assistance on these issues, Melanie. So I presume that means people are satisfied with the assistance that you've given. Not just Mark, but you've had other Free Talk Live listeners.
Quite a few, yeah.
Sign up, correct?
Yes.
So go ahead to tax.freetalklive.com. You can head over to Melanie's website through that URL. It'll take you right to where you need to go. You can reach out directly to her and set up a consultation, get her on board to do some bookkeeping. $100 a month to start. That's sort of like a basic level.
Yeah, so for the smaller businesses, it's 100 transactions and up to 5 owners, and then it goes up from there.
Seems like a real good deal. Go to tax.freetalklive.com. That's tax.freetalklive.com. As we continue, we'll take your calls and thoughts about what you want. We were discussing the Communist Manifesto, gone through 8 of the 10 planks so far, and we'll give you a rundown after we're done of how we ended up voting, each of us kind of weighing in on how we feel the plank has or has not been implemented. The last one was a kind of a bizarre-sounding one that, as you pointed out, Mark, was written in the 1850 or something like that, in the mid-1800s, when the world was very agricultural oriented, and it talks about equal liability of all to labor, and
the establishment of industrial armies to work the fields. Well, that hasn't really happened according to Melanie and I. We gave them 0 out of 1. You gave half a point on that one, Mark.
Yeah, the reason I gave that for the industrial armies and the press gangs and these sorts of things for the government is that they don't have to do those kinds of things, but they still take the fruits of your labor. Mm-hmm. They may not treat you like chattel slaves, but they treat you as a free-range serf. So, the concept's still there. It is still alive.
All right, let's go on to number 9 from Joe Jarvis's article on the Daily Bell.
Combination of agriculture with manufacturing industries, gradual abolition of the distinction between town and country by a more equitable distribution of the population over the country. So the idea is that, remember, this is almost pre-industrial revolution. They didn't understand the value of having people congregated in different areas. So the idea was to spread people out over the land. And I would say this is just an idea and not a particularly good one. So people are probably more distributed over the United States currently than they were in Leninist Russia, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I almost just want to strike this criteria as invalid because they do the opposite. And
what do you mean?
So they almost subsidize in a way. And I don't know, I haven't seen the actual numbers, but they seem to want people to live in population dense areas.
Mm-hmm. They're easier to control if you do that.
I think so, but I think this criteria is just invalid. Like, it's not true. They're not intentionally trying to spread people out, but I don't know how that would benefit them either.
Well, we'd have to probably read Mark's to get his explanation.
Well, I've read it,
like
but that doesn't mean
it's been some time for me.
Okay, so you guys gonna rank a 0 on
I'm
this
gonna
one?
rank a 0, but but sort of a null would be my statement.
Yeah,
no, doesn't
more like
count.
a dash.
Okay, I'm gonna put a dash through the 0 here. Yeah, I'm gonna go along with you guys on this one. Gradual abolition of the distinction between town and country. I mean, that's also
the creation of the interstate system basically has done what they're talking about. Now, in the United States, you have to have a car to sort of get around. There's a few cities that this isn't true, but
you're talking about the distribution of people across.
Distribution of people across the United States has become more vast as a result of the car, the automobile.
Yeah, but that said, it's still highly concentrated on the West and the East Coast compared to the middle, the flyover country, as they call it.
Sure.
Right.
Tell that to Chicago, third largest metro in America.
I'm going to say on the middle one here, there's 3 different planks are sort of within this plank, right? There's combination of agriculture with manufacturing industries, gradual abolition of the distinction between town and country, by a more equable distribution of population. Equable.
Yeah.
It would seem to me that the idea of towns still are very strong, right? Like, people still have a real sense of pride in the place that they live. But all that said, there is still that national fervor, right? Like, people love the Pledge of Allegiance. They love, the idea of America. So, I mean, there is a lot of nationalism in the United States. Should it be given a partial, just because of nationalism?
I don't know what to give this other than to say that I just don't think it's effective.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's not because of the distribution of population. That's not why there is maybe an abolition of the distinction between town and country. It just seems like nationalism has, it's popular in the United States.
I think people are more likely to live in, rural areas than they were in, say, the early 1900s. But this was written in the 1850s when there's more than half of the people worked in agriculture. So I don't know.
So we're striking that one, basically.
I just feel like it should be struck.
All right. And number 10, Mark, on the list of the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah. Free education for all children in public schools. Abolition of children's factory labor in its present form. Combination of education with industrial production.
That one's, I'm going to say, is pretty much implemented.
Number 1.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, obviously kids aren't actually they're not getting an education to actually do something useful like manufacturing. They're getting an education to I don't know, get an education. I can't tell you what I used any of the courses besides the elective of typing from high school in daily life.
As I understand what John Taylor Gatto has said about, who's a former teacher of the year in New York State, has said about the Prussian education system was that it was designed to churn out factory workers.
Right.
Not that they would be trained on how to run equipment at the school, but that they would be brainwashed into not really questioning their circumstances in life and accepting sort of this menial task and,
They'd
sticking
be happy
with it.
with utter boredom.
Yeah. And, being trained to do what they're told. And that's what the government schools inculcate. They inculcate obedience, and they do it fairly well. So are we all giving a full point on number 10? Okay, so we'll come back here and we'll wrap this up. The Communist Manifesto, I think we're going to end up with actually fewer than 8.5 this time around, just glancing at the list here. We've been a little bit more generous this time around. It won't be much less.
We're just more acclimated to it and used to it.
We're institutionalized.
I love
it's freedom.
This line from Joe Jarvis. Karl Marx is like the anti-Midas. Everything his philosophy touches turns to crap. Is it any wonder that America is stagnating? You cannot grow with a communist philosophy. It doesn't take into account the beautiful, creative independence of individuals. It treats people like cattle.
Not just stagnating.
Robs people of the rewards of their labor.
Sorry about that. Not just stagnating, but dropping on the list of economic freedom and personal freedoms in the world. There's different lists, and the United States has been dropping for the last decade plus on those lists. So the toll-free number here, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. You want to weigh in on the Communist Manifesto. Maybe you've got a different opinion on this. Maybe you are a communist, and you can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open the Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. You dial 911 and the police roll. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime, which is why I chose Blink. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original, most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
From the day an ancient cave dweller painted yet another elk hunt on a wall in 15,000 BC, to Gary Marshall's 1974 discovery of 13 weather-beaten North Dakotan coal miners that would go on to become the cast of Happy Days, The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On June 17, 1954, the effects of the previous month's historic Supreme Court ruling in Brown versus the Board of Education provided black students with the educational opportunity of experiencing racism firsthand in desegregated schools. Up until that point, African American pupils could only endure racial slurs and death threats in city streets or near their homes. And on June 24, 1784, 13-year-old Edward Warren took the first hot air balloon flight, becoming the first American to urinate on a crowd from 100 feet in the air. And that was what happened this week in history.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Skype username is lrn.fm, and we've got our Discord on-air call-in line room where you can jump into the conversation that way and sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. If you're not familiar with Discord, it's a chat application with both text and voice channels. We have our own server there that has a bunch of different channels. So there's different topics. There's, of course, one for Free Talk Live, so you can talk with other listeners and some of the hosts during, before, and after the show. And then there's other channels like cryptocurrency-related discussion and New Hampshire activism-related or whatever. There's a gaming channel. So head on over there to discord.lrn.fm. That'll get you involved. It's free. So there's really, if you want to try chatting with other Free Talk Live listeners, it's a great opportunity to do that. And as I said, a number of the hosts of the show are also to be found on that Discord server. So once again, go to discord.lrn.fm. It's Ian, Melanie, and Mark in the studio here tonight. We are talking about the Communist Manifesto. And so the story here from Joe Jarvis. Mark, was there like a wrap-up that Joe had that you wanted to?
Yeah, I read it in the last segment. Basically, Karl Marx is like the anti-Midas. Everything he touches turns to crap.
Yeah, so let's see. I actually completely disregarded what I was going to do during the break, and I did not actually total up these numbers. Can you guys vamp about this while I while I do this?
That is
the math.
Pathetic is what that is.
It is
it's
pathetic.
A lack of
total lack of preparation
as a talk show host.
Well, you try doing addition and subtraction while you're talking,
it's really,
buddy.
Really hard, I must say.
I'm not even going to try to do that.
No, absolutely not. I'm kind of wondering why it is that we decided that it was 8.5 was the number of planks of the Communist Manifesto that were implemented on the last go around, and this go around perhaps it's going to be even lower. Certainly the United States hasn't gotten freer since we did this in probably 2005. I doubt there's too many people who call in and say that they're freer now than they were then. Nothing about the TSA, by the way, is mentioned on this list other than sort of control of travel and, that.
Well, because it was written in the 1800s.
Yeah, well, it couldn't
Oh,
be.
you mean in his comments. Okay.
I feel like, Karl Marx is just flawed all the way through. He probably had a couple of sort of reasonable ideas in his philosophy, but between the idea of labor theory of value and just these predictions like socialism is going to morph into communism and the state will wither away. These kind of things just make
that was kind
nuts.
of someone's LSD trip more than someone's philosophy. But
I don't think they'd found LSD at that time.
Whatever psychotic he was on, that is not a sane. If we just grow the state, it'll go away. It's not going to go away. Period. But. So just because we're hitting less points, it could just be that they've improved on the system. It's been, 200 years ago? They could have just figured out better ways to do things other than these 10 things on the list. So that's not necessarily surprising.
And it's not like he, he wasn't looking for statism. He was looking for communism. Just had a flawed way of getting to it, and it's probably not possible to get to anyway. And just looking at things like, the invisible fence that they have for dogs. You know what that is? Like a collar, and then you put this line in the grass, and then you don't have to put in a real fence. Your dog just has to stay nearby.
We tried that with my dog when I was growing up, and it did not work.
It just ran right through it?
It ran through it, and then it just didn't stop.
Nonetheless,
because I imagine the range doesn't last forever on that thing.
My point is that that fence technology has increased, and state technology has increased too over the course of 150 years or so.
All right, so I have the numbers here, and to answer your question, Mark, as far as why we had 8.5 last time, maybe we're misremembering. Maybe it was 7.5 last time. I don't know.
We've said 8.5 many times.
We've said that. That doesn't mean we're remembering it correctly. But also, last time we all came to some sort of an agreement because we didn't have individual numbers last time. Last time we just sort of all debated on to whether or not this was full on or not full on. So now with differing individuals with each individual scores, Melanie, you came out with a total of 6.25 out of 10. I came out with 6 out of 10, and Mark, you have 7.5 out of 10.
Well, it's good to see that I'm the most libertarian in the bunch.
Well, no, that just means that even the democracy will even get you worse results when you're voting about what democracy is.
Yeah.
Or what communism is.
All right, so there's your current analysis.
We do agree that America is more socialist than it is not, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. Again, this is just, as you pointed out, this is just the planks of the Communist Manifesto. You want to talk about socialism. I mean, there's plenty of socialism.
And some of the things on there.
But the Communist Manifesto suggests going to socialism to get to communism. Mm-hmm. It's pretty clear on that. So what he's looking for is an implementation of socialism.
Right, so a couple of things, some of the things on there, if you're good at them, you don't actually have to do them. So like state ownership of all factories, if you're just really good at regulating things, you don't have to go through the trouble of outright running it yourself.
Right.
You can just punish and reward the behaviors that you want to happen. So
which is what they do.
I don't know, it's a valid indicator of whether or not your society is having a bad time, but it's not necessarily a valid indicator of, by these 10 points, which society is having a worse time.
So if you want to weigh in, you're certainly welcome to do so. We're going to change gears. In a little bit, we're going to get into the Supreme Court case, the Cake Supreme Court case, which, Melanie, you are legal trained. You've got some analysis on this case. But you really wanted to talk about the FBI.
Yes.
Specifically, the cop who shot somebody, the FBI agent who shot somebody
by
while
accident,
supposedly showing off his skills with a gun.
Yeah. So, and there's a video here, which obviously I can't show a video on the radio.
I have not watched this video. I've heard it's outrageous.
So he appears to be at some kind of either bar or dance party or something like that.
It's always a good place to have a gun. At the bar. Pull out a gun and play with it at the bar.
I don't know if he was drinking, but it was some place where it was like, he wasn't just like breaking out in the middle of the street. He was at some place that it seemed to be acceptable to be dancing. Mm. And so he was, dancing, and then he had a gun on his back in the, I don't know how to describe this in words.
The small of his back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently he didn't even have a retention holster as an FBI agent.
Retention holster would mean something you have to sort of trigger a release in order to get the gun out of it.
So they have 1, 2, or 3 buttons, and if you don't push the button, that gun ain't coming out.
Right.
So he did
the holster itself might fall if it's not really in your pants, but that's pretty unlikely.
Retention holsters, the ones I've seen, tend to be pretty. I mean, I guess you could wear clothes that don't fit with them, but
you can also loop them in through a belt loop and things like that.
Yeah, the trigger's covered, and the gun ain't coming out the holster.
Yeah.
So, he then, while dancing, did a backflip. So the gun, and he's surrounded by like a circle of people, and there's a couple of people dancing, and surrounded by people watching. Yep. The gun flew out of his holster.
Oh my gosh!
Didn't fire at that point.
He didn't have one of these retention holsters, apparently.
I'm assuming that because the gun flew out of the.
Yeah, I mean, he's dancing,
doing backflips, not only with a gun, but with a gun not in a retention holster.
I didn't understand how this had happened in the first place, but now I'm beginning to see this is bad tech.
Yeah, so
It's also a dumb person.
The gun didn't fire at that point because, honestly, most guns are not going to fire just by being dropped.
Most of the time, yeah.
So he went to pick it up and put it back in real quick and ended up shooting somebody in the leg while he picked it up. And then if you read the article, it says he put his hands up, but that they kind of made it sound like he did the hands up, don't shoot thing. But he kind of threw his hands up as he walked away as if he was aggravated at the situation. All the videos I could find have his
As
face.
opposed to like walking over to his victim and trying to help.
Yeah, he just walked
off.
away. He walked completely away.
Wow.
All the videos I could find have his face blacked out.
Wow.
And there's a quote in here.
They wouldn't do that to anybody else.
No.
Right.
The name of the agent wasn't released because he hasn't been charged, said Marika Putman, a Denver police spokesman.
My God.
It's nice to be one of the ruling class.
Now, is this... So, do you remember the video of the DEA agent who's showing off in front of a class, high school class or something, and shoots himself in the foot or whatever? Is this even worse, in your opinion, than that?
I could go that either way because I think there are arguments to be made on either way. So the DEA agent had a captive audience because he was at a school.
Yep.
I'm the only one here qualified to possess a gun.
Yeah, you weren't.
Bang.
You weren't allowed. So you weren't allowed to just walk out. Whereas you are not obligated to be at a dance club or whatever this is.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm just now watching this video. And of course...
Oh, that was not blacked out. Okay.
Yeah, this is not blacked out. We'll share this
I'll share
on
that one too, then.
The Free Talk Live forum here, and we'll continue analysis here in a moment, because I'm going to say this is worse than the DEA video. We'll continue. The DEA one is hilarious. This one...
The DEA only shot himself.
Exactly. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
It's a very confusing time in the financial markets, and nobody knows that better than financial markets analyst Doug Casey. Casey Research wants to send you a free copy of Doug's controversial new book about the stock market, our economy, and American politics. Warning, this book is not politically correct. Casey is known for his outspoken and brutally honest views. He once called global warming a political scam. He's made millions betting on investments seen as too controversial by the mainstream. In this new book, Casey reveals shocking predictions about hot issues like immigration, Russia, and the next stock superboom. Doug Casey is an investing legend. Find out where he's looking for gains in spaces like tech, even cryptocurrencies. But watch out, this book is simply too controversial for bookstores. Go to totallyincorrectoffer.com to get your free copy so you can see for yourself. Shipping and handling charges apply. But be warned, this material may be taken down at any time. Just go to totallyincorrectoffer.com. That's www.totallyincorrectoffer.com. totallyincorrectoffer.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, June 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.50 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,296 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $27, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,526. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. war in Afghanistan continues to go poorly, and the latest data on casualties underscores just how rapidly things are worsening. In May, 1,762 people were killed and 1,190 were wounded. That's an increase of 42% over the previous month. Some of this reflects the continued ratcheting up of the Taliban's spring offensive, but the offensive was already going for much of April, and unlike in early years of the war, there isn't the same winter lull that used to precede the new offensives. U.S. troops are deep into their 16th year in Afghanistan, and while Pentagon brass continues to make vague claims of progress and turning the corner, Afghan forces control less territory than ever, and U.S. troop deployments are less about winning at this point and just slowing the rate of losses. Even the capital city of Kabul is practically under siege, with heavy casualty attacks happening disturbingly often. The ability to travel around the country is virtually non-existent, with U.S. forces relying less on convoys and taking helicopters most places they need to go in the name of safety. General John Nicholson, the U.S. commander, said infiltrating Kabul is easier than we would like, but other than throwing more troops at the problem, they don't seem to have any idea how to fix the problem.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports fires in California, Colorado, and New Mexico continued to burn thousands of acres over the weekend. New Mexico's Ute fire grew to 31,930 acres on Sunday as forecast of strong thunderstorms in the area raised concerns about flash flooding on burn scars and the possibility of lightning strikes causing even more fires, according to the New Mexico State Forestry Division. A mandatory evacuation was ordered for residents of Ute Park on Saturday night. The community of Cimarron was also placed under mandatory evacuations as the blaze threatened 296 structures in the area. About 14 outbuildings were destroyed in the Philmont Scout fire as a result of that fire. Firefighters conducted successful burn operations on Saturday and formed a dozer line around the Ute Park to protect the community from the fire. The Rocky Mountain Blue Team said Fire 416 in Colorado grew to 2,255 acres and was about 10% contained on Sunday. The team assumed command over the 416 fire early Sunday morning and planned to check for hotspots and reopen Highway 550. Firefighters in Colorado said forecasted storms could help dampen the fire, but warned increased winds and lightning could make battling the blaze more difficult and spark even new fires. Evacuations for 1,500 residents also remained in effect, according to the La Plata County government. Most evacuation orders for Laguna Beach were lifted Sunday as firefighters continued to combat brush fires.
Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com.
Reuters reports 3 people were airlifted to safety on Sunday morning as lava from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano threatened an isolated area where they had become trapped. The 2 men and a woman became the latest in a series of evacuations on Hawaii's Big Island, forced by the volcano, which has been erupting since May 3rd. On Saturday, National Guard troops, police, and firefighters ushered evacuees from homes on the eastern tip of the island hours before lava cut off road access to the area, according to officials. A stream of lava as wide as 3 football fields flowed over a highway near a junction at Kapoho, a seaside community rebuilt after a destructive eruption of Kilauea in 1960. Officials said about a dozen people remain in the area, but it is not clear whether they are in the neighborhoods that are immediately threatened by the lava. The Hawaii Volcano Observatory reported late on Saturday that lava had also destroyed a freshwater lake, boiling away all of the water. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after beginning his first date with area woman Pauline Geary, smitten local man Brad Holtman told Onion reporters he couldn't believe that the woman was also a fan of the 1960s British rock band, the Beatles.
We were just talking about music, and she mentioned that she liked the Beatles, which is crazy because I love the Beatles, actually. Yeah, funny thing is, I was not really even looking forward to the date. I figured we get a drink or whatever, but it's turning out a lot cooler than I thought it was going to. I mean, she's just such a huge fan. She knows all the Beatles names. She even owns some of their albums. I've been a Beatles fan since like 6th or 7th grade, so I don't want to get too excited and jump into something. So I think I'm going to ask her if she's ever seen The Godfather, which is probably my top 5 movies of all time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to take control of the airwaves. Bring up whatever you want to discuss as we launch here into the third hour of the program. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
We're talking about the FBI agent, apparently, who was, according to Boing Boing, CNN, and a variety of other sources, at a Denver bar Saturday, showing off his dance moves when he did a backflip, and his gun flew out of its holster, which was in the small of his back. He then attempts to grab it quickly off of the ground, and in that grab, he triggers the gun to fire. Apparently,
that's bad.
Hitting one of the patrons in the bar in the leg. Now, we were just comparing this video. The person who was hit is going to survive, thank goodness. Because, again, the gun was actually on the ground at the time when he goes to pick it up and then accidentally fires it.
First, I mean, how is this the United States federal government's fault? I would say that if I had to answer that question, they should have issued this guy a gun that had the safeties that are involved, that modern safeties that prevent this kind of thing from happening. There are safety holsters out there.
No, safeties can be good or bad depending on your situation. My gun doesn't have a traditional safety. I've never shot anybody in the leg by accident either.
But you're going to be responsible if you shoot somebody. He's not. The federal government, if they're going to issue a firearm to somebody who in all likelihood is never going to use it.
We don't know that this is his issued weapon either.
We don't.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot you can blame the government for, but I mean, this is ridiculous. This is individual responsibility, Mark. And even if they'd issued him a gun with safeties on it, he didn't use them, maybe, right? Like, maybe he didn't have his safety on, in which case, how's that the government's fault?
If you have the right holster, you don't have the safety on or off. It's just how you draw the weapon out of it. It would have fallen out of his waistband in the right holster, and then it wouldn't have gone off when he picked it up.
Because he wouldn't have been able to shoot it.
That's true, if he'd had it in a proper holster. I see what you're saying there, but you were asking for guns with proper safeties or whatever, so you're talking about the holster.
That's what I'm talking about. It's a safety.
The holster itself is providing a safety. You're not talking about safeties on the gun.
Safety features? Is that a better way to say it?
But a safety is, as I understand it, like a part of an actual gun.
Safety is a part, like a metal part on a gun that has to be flipped.
Additional safety features. That's what they should be that should be issuing to these guys, so that this kind of thing doesn't happen that often. Look, it
doesn't happen that often. That's why it's newsworthy.
He's as likely to leave this gun in a public restroom as he is to shoot somebody with it. Okay.
Okay.
Like they need to take that into consideration when they're issuing weapons.
Yeah, okay. But again, it still has to do with the individual agent and their individual lack, in this case, of responsibility to where he is likely drinking in a bar.
Likely. I'm not saying he's absolved of responsibility here, Ian. Did it sound like I said anything like that?
It does reflect poorly on them, though, because this is the type of people that, and this is not just a hire whoever I can hire minimum wage job and I get what I get. They, kind of vet FBI agents. So
yeah, but they don't vet them for drinking problems. I mean,
this is not a drinking problem. It does kind of reflect on them that this is the kind of people that they attract. I don't know that
But it's not uncommon for cops to be heavy drinkers. I mean, if you were to cut out the drinkers from law enforcement, you'd be cutting out a whole bunch of the potential recruits.
That wouldn't surprise me, but this isn't. I mean, you could be sober and do a backflip. Like, this isn't a problem. Had he done this exact same thing sober, probably you would have got the same result. I I don't see how alcohol is really the issue here.
Well, because it's going to make you sloppy with a gun. I mean, it's going to much more increase the likelihood that you're going to slip your finger into the trigger guard. Again, we all agree he should have had a better holster. No doubt. But he didn't.
I'm not even saying he should have had a better holster. I'm saying if he knows he's going to be doing things like that, he should have. And I'm not even going to call it a better holster. I'm going to call it a different type of holster.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are times you might not want a triple retention holster. But if you're going to be doing backflips, don't wear a gun. But yeah,
no doubt about it. But look, if your gun falls out of its, whether you're doing a backflip or not, if there's some reason why your gun falls out of its holster and falls onto the ground, you don't quick whip your hand down like this guy does in the video.
He's drunk.
Sloppily grab the gun to where you pull the trigger.
Thought he was going to grab it before anybody saw it, is what happens.
Which is even more proof that he was drunk, right? Like, he's standing and there's people wide berth, giving him a wide berth because he's a drunk guy dancing, doing backflips. And, so that's the only thing that they saw. I mean, they saw him dancing and they saw the gun flip out. There was no way anyone missed that.
And I'm sure that it made a noise, whether it's a metal gun or a polymer gun. When
the music was probably pounding.
Okay, well,
the music was probably pounding in the club.
They probably heard the gunshot.
I bet they did, because some people turned around and started to get the heck out of there at that point in the video. But look, he's obviously drinking, right? Most people don't go to a bar to dance in front of other people unless they've had a few beers in them. Am I right about that?
Yeah, pretty common.
That's probably true.
Yeah. So he fires, accidentally fires the gun into the crowd. If you're not drunk and your gun falls out of its holster, if you're, a responsible person, you gingerly pick up the gun from the ground because you don't want to shoot somebody with it, right? But he goes as quick as possible and grabs that thing and, of course, drunkenly slips his finger into the trigger guard. And because, one of the rules of a gun is, number one rule is you don't point a gun at anything you don't want to kill. And another major rule, there's a few rules, but one of the other ones is you don't put your finger into the trigger guard until you're ready to pull the trigger.
Right.
So, he's breaking some of the most basic rules of gun handling here, beyond the fact that he didn't have it in a good holster to begin with. So, I mean, this guy is just an F-up. There's no doubt about it. And you can argue that somebody should be allowed to have a gun in a bar. I think it should ultimately be up to the bar owner to make
it should too.
Those decisions.
Yeah, I've never thought ill of a bar when there was a sign that said, you can't have a gun here.
Right. And you say that as somebody who is a gun person. You carry a gun.
It might make me not go, but I also don't plan on getting drunk either. So it's not unreasonable to say, hey, you could get drunk here, but you can't get drunk here armed.
I've definitely been in bars with people who I'm very glad did not have guns.
Right.
And because at some point with the imbibing of alcohol, if you're open long enough, someone's going to need to be asked to leave, and that person's not going to want to.
So, hey, there's a little bit more here about this story because this guy has not yet been identified, although the video that we're going to post on the Free Talk Live forum does show his face, so somebody could identify this person. But ultimately, he has not yet been arrested. Now, do you think that you would have been able to fire a gun and hit somebody in a club and avoid, at the very minimum, negligent discharge of a firearm charges, or even firing a gun within city limits, which you damn well know Denver's got that one on the books.
Well, no, if it was a regular person, they'd probably get whatever that state's version of aggravated battery is, or battery with a weapon, or however they define it there. No, and that's kind of where the FBI's guilt comes in, is that he's not getting arrested because they don't have evidence or because there's some extenuating circumstances or due to some choice of evils law. He's not getting prosecuted only because he's an FBI agent.
Yeah.
So the FBI, he knows he's protected. So the FBI isn't not guilty here. They protect their people. Their people know that they're protected to do things like do backflips with a gun and then shoot the gun trying to pick it up real quick. So to some extent, they are enabling that behavior. Now, did this guy get an order from, on high that said, I want you to go do drunken backflips at a club? No. But he knows that he can.
Mm-hmm.
So to that extent, they are making it safe for him to do that, and so they do have some guilt here.
The spokesperson for the police in Denver say the agent might face criminal charges. But first, the police want to examine lab results to determine if alcohol was a factor.
What does that have to do with anything?
It shouldn't have anything
if
to
I
do with
shoot
anything.
somebody sober, that makes it okay? That's not how that works.
It's ridiculous. So there you go. That's the drunken FBI agent's story. You're welcome to share your thoughts here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
From the sixth letter of Captain Mark. A pirate's life is characterized by voluntary interactions. Unfortunately, the Crown presses everyone into involuntary servitude. Landlubbers believe slavery was abolished years ago, but the Crown still claims to own us when it crimps us into service against our will. Given sufficient ambition, it would gladly draft thousands of hapless victims to kill or be killed. It's simply slavery by another name. Landlubbers are routinely commanded to serve the so-called justice system in jury duty. But before you swell with civic pride, consider that how you feel is irrelevant to the Crown. You will appear as ordered or face punitive measures. The Crown insists that you participate in your own oppression. A jury summons provides pirates with a unique opportunity to obstruct injustices. A juror can vote not guilty, even if it's proven the law was violated. A juror can acquit for any reason at all, and not even a judge can reverse that verdict. Receiving a jury summons is basically winning the sedition lottery. But if you reveal that you know this during jury selection, you'll probably be dismissed. If the Crown foolishly crimps a pirate into jury duty, it behooves the pirate to conceal their intention to nullify unjust laws. If a master takes 100% of your labor, it's called slavery. But if they only take 50%, they call it taxation, a difference of degree, not of kind. Whether the Crown claims a fortune or a cent is irrelevant. Most of all, a slave owner desires contented slaves, meaning thoughtless ones that accept their bondage. These house slaves see no contradiction in being drafted in a war to end slavery or summoned to a jury to prosecute tax evasion. An ideal slave knows no higher call than the master's will. The Crown's highest ambition is that its slaves revere the authority that subjugates them. But the Crown does not own me. I will not surrender my time and treasure to the Crown's ambitions. Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at ovaltineusa.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Free Talk Live. You dial toll free to join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. So whether you want to talk about the ridiculous FBI agent who's jumping around in a nightclub and his gun falls out and then he shoots somebody accidentally with it, or whatever's on your mind. We also talked about the Communist Manifesto here tonight. 855-450-FREE is the number. Also, we've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Plus, there's the Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. Also, want to make sure you know about liberty.menu. You head over to liberty.menu, and that is a site that people have been asking for a long time. It finally exists, and this one's actually worth talking about. There have been some attempts at doing a libertarian business directory in the past, but this is the best by far. In fact, it looks good, it's easy to use, and it works well. Go to liberty.menu, and you can get started there. It's free. So if you got a business that you do, or more than one of them, you can add all of them, whatever it is you do, to liberty.menu. And then other individuals who reject the initiation of force and who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, they will find your business if they're looking for what you do.
It's free advertising for libertarians. End of story.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So head on over to liberty.menu. You can also use code FTL if you like, and you get a special Free Talk Live listener badge there on your profile. Again, free to use, so there's no reason not to get your stuff up there over at liberty.menu. Plus, there's events listings and digital content listings as well. So even if you're not an entrepreneur, you do other things, you can list that stuff too. Liberty.menu. As we continue here, big Supreme Court decision, which, Melanie, you said off the air, doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, it wasn't that big. It was...
I've got a story here, and I want you to definitely comment on this here. This is from Reuters, reporting a U.S. Supreme Court decision 7-2, so fairly decisive, where the Supreme Court today handed down a victory on narrow grounds to a Colorado Christian baker who refused for religious reasons to make a wedding cake for a gay couple. Stopping short, however, of setting a major precedent allowing people to claim exemptions from anti-discrimination laws based on religious beliefs. The justices in a 7-2 decision said the Colorado Civil Rights Commission showed an impermissible hostility toward religion when it found that Baker Jack Phillips violated the state's anti-discrimination law by rebuffing gay couple David Mullins and Charlie Craig in 2012. The state law bars businesses from refusing service based on race, sex, marital status, or sexual orientation. The ruling concluded that the commission violated Phillips' religious rights under the U.S. Constitution's First Amendment. But the justices did not issue a definitive ruling on the circumstances under which people can seek exemptions from anti-discrimination laws based on their religious views.
They didn't issue a ruling on that at all. is
okay.
Kind of the thing. So
you're saying Reuters is incorrect in its assessment.
And the media usually is when they interpret Supreme Court cases, especially like the most recent, like when they do it when they first come out, because I assume they don't teach case law in journalism school.
And they don't have attorneys writing these articles.
So
well, what did they decide?
Not much. So what'll happen is a court will rule on a case that is related to some media-worthy issue, and then they'll just take the conclusion and act as if the court ruled on that conclusion. So if the media will do things like, if somebody sues for a car accident 20 years later and the court's like, oh, statute of limitations, go away, the media will come out, court rules, you can no longer sue for car accidents. And that's just like, I mean, hate the courts all you want, I'll join you, but that's just not what happens. So this guy turned down a same-sex couple for specifically a custom wedding cake back in 2012 in Colorado, where at the time, guess what? Same-sex marriage was illegal. I don't know how illegal it was. I don't know if it was just the we won't give you a license and recognize you, or if it was the you're committing a criminal act version of illegal. I don't know. But the state of Colorado themselves, while they were telling this guy that he had to participate in the same-sex marriage, was not acknowledging same-sex marriage themselves.
Huh.
He said in his defense to the board that A, it went against his religious freedoms to participate in this, and that he would sell them other baked goods, but he wouldn't sell them specifically goods that were promoting a specific event.
Yeah.
Which I think is a pretty good argument that a wedding cake, especially not an off-the-shelf wedding cake, does.
It's also a good argument that they weren't being told that they wouldn't be served based on their sexual proclivities or whatever it might be, because he's willing to sell them baked goods. He's just not willing to sell them a custom wedding cake.
Yeah.
And, okay.
And he also told them that he did not want to do that. He told the board, not the couple, that he didn't want to sell gay wedding cakes because he thought that he would be participating in an illegal act. That is probably not true, but it is a reasonable interpretation for a lay person to make. If a thing is illegal, and I'm selling you items specifically to celebrate your illegal activity, I can see how people would be scared of that.
Congratulations on your lynching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the board in Colorado ruled against him. They told him, and this is not me exaggerating, they told him that he was comparable to a slave driver and a Nazi. And there's a quote in the case that says that because his beliefs, and they just kind of ridiculed his beliefs during the hearing. The appeals court didn't address it. None of the other members of the committee addressed it. The regular state courts refused to hear the appeal up from that, so the Supreme Court took it. And the Supreme Court basically said, you're supposed to weigh the rights. You didn't do that. You're supposed to weigh the right to be gay versus the right to be Christian. You didn't do that because you completely dismissed his right to be Christian. Which doesn't mean that they ruled wrong. It just means that they didn't, because they didn't say, okay, Baker, you can go on with your life not making gay cakes.
Won't this effectively stifle lawsuits surrounding gay cakes in the future? No. Okay.
Because
the Supreme Court obviously doesn't want to rule on this, right? I mean, they had every opportunity to say, hey, there's religious freedom in this country, and if you don't want to make a gay cake, a gay wedding cake, then don't make a gay wedding cake. You're just a jerk. They could have done that if that's what they wanted to do.
They could have, and there's almost, the actual decision isn't that long. You'll get like a 57 whatever page document, but the actual decision is only a couple of pages.
Okay.
They say at the end, in my mind, it's almost like an invitation for people to keep bringing new suits, because you're like, we don't know how we would rule in the future. We have no idea. We'd have to figure that out later.
We didn't address these issues,
so then why did you take the case, first of all, Supreme Court? Because that doesn't make any sense. But they relied heavily on the fact that Colorado can't say that Colorado can't say that Colorado is not going to recognize gay marriage, but that a private baker has to recognize gay marriage. They relied pretty heavily on that. They also told him, I think the most interesting part was when they compared him to some other cakes that the same committee had ruled did not have to be decorated or baked.
All right, we can continue with analysis on this from Melanie. She went to law school, so she knows a thing or two about these situations. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. You want to weigh in, you're welcome to do so as well. And, of course, we should first just sort of generally talk about the right to discriminate. This is Free Talk Live.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Healthcare reform is confusing, but whether it's finding an affordable insurance plan, keeping your doctor, or being able to afford needed prescriptions, navigating the healthcare system has become a challenge. Control your own healthcare costs and choices with Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It is an association of self-pay patients who unite with like-minded people to share the cost of each other's medical needs. Neighbor helping neighbor. Learn more now by going to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Don't worry about things you can't control. Isn't that what they always say? But it's about impossible to avoid worrying about what's going on these days. The government has used the war on guns, the war on drugs, and the war on terrorism to tear our Bill of Rights to shreds. But you can fight back. The 10th Amendment Center has proven it, racking up major victories. For example, when the U.S. government claimed authority in the NDAA to have the military kidnap and detain Americans without trial, the nullifiers got a law passed in California, declaring the state's refusal to ever participate in any such thing. Their latest project is offnow.org, nullifying the National Security Agency. They've already gotten model legislation introduced in California, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, meant to limit the power of the NSA to spy on Americans in those states. We'd be fools to wait around for the U.S. Congress or courts to roll back Big Brother. Our best chance is nullification and interposition on the state level. Go to offnow.org, print out that model legislation, and get to work nullifying the NSA. The hero Edward Snowden has risked everything to give us this chance. Let's take it. Offnow.org.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Bring up what you want. Our number here, 855-450, free like freedom. And you can take control of the airwaves. Also, via our Discord call-in line room. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. You can hop in there, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And in the studio with you tonight, you've got Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
In fact, we're going to that Discord on-air line coming up here in just a moment. But I also want to make sure you know about Zencash over at Zencash.com. They had a bit of a rocky weekend in the world of Zencash. There was apparently what is called a 51% attack on the Zencash network, and there was some fallout as a result of that. So that deserves further discussion, and I do have a blog post about that from the folks over at Zencash, also a news piece from, I believe, Cointelegraph talking about it. It's not as bad as it sounded initially. It was essentially something that affected, apparently, one of the exchanges based on the conversation that was had. It was talked about in detail today on Will's show, Call to Freedom, over at LRN.FM in the Afternoon Drive Show. And they actually had Rob from Zencash on the program to discuss it. So I didn't hear the whole interview, but it did sound like they were trying to get out in front of it, that they accepted some level of responsibility for it, and they're working to solve the 51% attack problem. I'm not sure how they're doing that. As I said, I didn't listen to the whole thing, but we have been made aware of this headline, and it's definitely not good news.
It's not good news, but the
Zencash.
price isn't terrible. It wasn't affected terribly last I saw either.
Surprisingly, yeah.
Yeah,
So that may say that the market does believe
down a bit, but not by much.
That may be an indicator that the market does actually, believe the explanation that they do believe that Zencash is going to work to eliminate these problems.
Seems like a buying opportunity to me
in the future. But Zencash is it is a private currency. If you want to use private cryptocurrency, Zencash has some of the best privacy features out there. A lot of the smaller cryptos are subject to this 51% attack. And as I said, this deserves further discussion. Big cryptos, like established cryptos like Bitcoin, for instance, or Bitcoin Cash, not as likely to suffer from these. But again, Zencash is a private currency. It was made by voluntarists. They care about freedom, and they are getting out in front of this. And if we get the chance later tonight, when we're done with the cake story, I'll pull up these blog posts because I do have them in my show prep. If you want to learn more about Zencash, you can go to Zencash.com. Once again, that's Zencash.com to learn more about it. As we continue here, Ian, Melanie, and Mark in the studio. Let's go to Gene. He's the Christian anarchist on the line on our Discord server. Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, guys, thought I would talk about some government regulation that is kind of affecting me personally today that I'm not very happy with. And that is, I've been flying and I have, I had purchased a helicopter and I'm trying to get my helicopter license. And because of the FAA regulations, the guy that was teaching me, and I just finally got my helicopter back, so I was all excited. I was bringing it home, and I'm going to say, I call the guy and have him come down here and do some instruction. And it turns out that he is no longer instructing because the regulations regarding the instructors, and he's an older guy, he's 69, so he only had two students, me and another guy, and his insurance came due. And because of the regulations, the insurance cost so much money, it just didn't make sense for him to continue instructing. So he's not going to instruct anymore. So now I'm stuck trying to find an instructor. And this is what's happening to general aviation throughout the country. The reason that the little airports are dying and the fact and so many airplanes are for sale out there is because the regulations are making it so that people can't jump through the hoops and make it economical enough to where they can actually fly their airplanes. So now you've got a glut of old used airplanes. That's why the airplane prices are coming down, and young people are not learning to fly because of all the hoops they have to jump through to learn how to fly. It's all because of regulations.
I believe
and they're killing the industry. The whole general aviation industry is
that's
dying.
what they want, right? The government wants to kill off businesses, so there's consolidation, so there are fewer players. Ultimately, that way they can more easily control the fewer players that remain. And of course, we've seen the big airlines gobbling each other up for decades and consolidating.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of regulation. It's not for safety or for standards. It's for our artificial barriers to entry.
And this is one of the arguments I make among pilot people that I talk to, because as an anarchist, the best argument that I would make for government, if I were to take the position of government, and sometimes, to strengthen your own argument, sometimes you need to take the other side and try to make that argument. The argument I would make for government is the FAA. They keep all the planes flying safely. You don't have too many accidents, all this yada, yada, yada. And you can't really argue that they don't keep things safe. They're doing a fairly decent job of keeping things safe. But I take the position that what would aviation look like today if from the time of the Wright brothers until today, we had zero regulation on flying?
Flying cars.
We would probably be looking at something more like the Jetsons than what we have today. We probably would have personal flying machines that would fly us from our front yard to our relative's front yard in relative safety. I mean, obviously, there's never going to be anything 100% safe. It's not possible. What we have today is not 100% safe. But what we would have would be so much more convenient and so much more economical than what we have today. I think it would just blow us away.
Well, we've actually talked in the past about the Mueller Sky Car, which was in development, in the 1970s, I think?
Yeah.
That's one example of something.
Yeah.
And, again, that was something that it's working, right? Like it's a thing that exists, but you can't buy it because the FAA won't approve you.
There are some being built today, but they're home built. There's one called the Switchblade, and it's based on a motorcycle. It's going to be like a tricycle gear motorcycle, and it's got fold-out wings. You can look it up on the internet. It's called the Switchblade. But it's the reason that it even has a chance of being built is because it's being built under the home-built rules rather than the regular certified aircraft rules. Because if you've got a home-built aircraft, you have a whole lot more liberty to do different things than if you were to make a certified aircraft. So
it just sounds like a bad idea. Home-built aircraft.
Well, that's what I have for a helicopter. It's a home-built helicopter.
Terrifying.
Gene, anything else you want to share tonight?
That's it. I'm just kind of bummed out. I'm angry tonight. I'm pissed off at the government. They screwed me again, and I'm just fed up with them.
I heard you.
Frankly.
Thanks for the call tonight, Gene. I appreciate it. That's Gene. Sounded great there on the Discord on-air call-in line room, which you can join over at discord.lrn.fm. Here's the headline from Zencash, by the way. Or actually not from Zencash, but in this case from bitcoinist.com. The Zencash network was attacked. This was yesterday via a 51% attack, which basically means that the person who's doing the attacking is able to control 51% of the mining power in the given network, which means that this essentially they had to rent mining power.
Yeah, this is an incredibly
it's an expensive attack.
Heist.
Right. So they spent a lot of money on equipment basically to pull off this heist in order to make more money on the heist itself. According to the story,
and it wasn't particularly amazing heist by the fact that with all the work they put into it.
Zencash, according to the story here, is a proof-of-work cryptocurrency based on the popular Equihash mining algorithm, which is used by several other currencies, most notably Zcash, meaning there's a very large pool of total Equihash hash rate in the world that can be used on a variety of networks. Zen is a fork of Z Classic that launched using the same code base as Zcash. Again, all these cryptocurrencies, copy code from one another. Yesterday, the Zencash network experienced a 51% attack where one person or party controls 51% of the hash rate, which allows the attacker to reorganize the blockchain, in this case several times, with the largest rollback reversing 38 blocks. Now, the blocks are where the transaction details of any given moment of in time are stored. And so this person was literally able to undo transactions because of this. And we'll tell you how that works to create a robbery coming up.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
This is a warning to all household pests, to all cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, and rats. If you've made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix, because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home. Terminix has 90 years of experience eliminating home invaders, and they make it easy for homeowners to be protected by offering a free pest estimate by calling 1-800-676-9879. Cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, rats, and other pests. This is your last chance. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will never stop working to keep you out with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Pests.
Wherever you are, I will find you.
Pests, you've been warned. Homeowners are calling Terminix right now for a free pest estimate. 1-800-676-9879. 1-800-676-9879. 30-day money-back guarantee at participating locations. Limitations apply. See plan for details.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want here in these remaining moments. We might have enough time for you if you jump on the lines right now. Ian, Melanie, and Mark in the studio. We're talking about the 51% attack on Zencash. This, I got the heads up on this. Actually, somebody tagged me on Twitter, one of our longtime listeners, and definitely was very concerning. Thankfully, once you learn a little bit more about it, it's nice to know that the Zencash team they care and they're doing things about this. We'll give you their response to what has happened. Zencash.com, of course, where you can go to learn more about Zencash. But what happened was yesterday there was what they call a 51% attack on Zencash, and that means that somebody at that time controlled 51% of the hash rate, which allowed the attacker, that's again the mining power behind Zencash, allowed the attacker to reorganize the blockchain multiple times, with the largest rollback reversing 38 blocks. Now, again, blocks are where sort of the blockchain is the technology that backs a lot of these cryptocurrencies. This is the revolutionary technology that generally is not supposed to be undone. Like one of the selling points of cryptocurrency is that when you make a transaction, it's done. And it can't be undone unless the person who you've sent the cryptocurrency to decides to send it back to you. There's no pullbacks. There's no chargebacks. There's no undo button on most of these cryptocurrencies. Unless you control the network, which is what 51% attacks allow you to do.
Right.
So this attacker was able to double spend what they call two massive transactions, 13,000 and 6,600 Zen, worth more than $550,000 US at current prices, according to a statement made by the development team. Mining pool operators notified Zencash of a potential attack, and exchanges were quickly contacted and warned to increase their confirmation times. It was possible for the attacker to roll back transactions, but it's unclear what he did with the initial transactions, if he sent them to an exchange and traded the coins for Bitcoin or some other crypto, which, by the way, that has been made clear at this point. The folks from Zencash said on the air today on Call to Freedom that that is exactly what happened. He sent Zen to an exchange. The exchange credited him with having Zen in his account, and then he undid, or she, or whoever the attacker was, undid the transactions by doing the 51% attack. But the exchange didn't know because of the way these exchanges work.
Sure.
The exchange receives the Zen. They then just credit you with these tokens or whatever on their exchange. You're not actually exchanging the coin itself, supposedly, as I understand it. And so by the time he was done with the attack, he'd already exchanged the Zen on the exchange, and then he just undid it. So the exchange was the one who got hit. It wasn't any particular user outside of the exchange.
Right. And to some extent, that speaks to how exchanges choose to credit people.
Correct. And as they're pointing out here, if the exchanges increase the number of blocks required for confirmations, that would make these attacks much less likely. But anyway, going on here, the attack occurred over a span of about 110 blocks, meaning it took about 4 hours for them to get through this.
I will point out that when the Bitcoin maximalists, the BTC guys out there, talk about the robustness of the Bitcoin network, and
yes.
it's
been around the longest.
Yeah, its ability to handle stuff like this. That's what they're talking about.
Yes, it would cost a lot of money. You couldn't. You almost couldn't spend the money possible that it would take to do a 51% attack on Bitcoin.
Yeah,
but on smaller currencies like this one, it's relatively simple. In this case, it cost the attacker, according to 51 Crypto, a website that estimates the theoretical cost of 51% attacks. In order to show how simple it is to do in some of these cases, they say this one cost the attacker about $30,000. So this was a person who was so confident that they would be able to pull this off. They spent $30,000 in order to organize the hashing power they needed.
Sounds like a loss.
No, he pulled off a $500,000 heist.
Oh, I thought, okay, 500. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so
I
he made
I thought you said 15,000.
No, $550,000 at current rates is what he pulled in off of this. So, more than 10 times of his
pretty serious
investment. So this is now the fourth major 51% attack launched in just the last few months. Bitcoin Gold and Verge were a couple of the other currencies attacked, and they've sparked a lot of debate within the crypto community regarding how these mining operations are set up. And so they go on just sort of talking generally about 51% attacks. Let me switch over to Zencash and their statement about this. They talk about how it went down, that they received warning of a potential attack from a pool operator, a mining pool operator. They immediately initiated investigation and evaluated hash power distribution. They also contacted exchanges at the same time to increase their confirmation times as a protection measure. Investigation showed the suspect transaction was a double spend, and they're doing at this time they're doing additional forensics and jointly investigating with the affected exchange. It says here that, according to them, is my money safe? Increasing required confirmations to 100 makes another attack highly unlikely. However, if you have any specific concerns about the general security of exchange platforms, please contact the exchange directly. As always, we recommend that users store their funds in wallets that they control, such as cold storage, with something like a Ledger Nano S or Paper Wallet. The Zen team will continue monitoring the network and conducting forensic analysis with the affected exchange. All information gathered will be provided to the appropriate authorities. Zencash remains committed to ensuring the security of its customers' funds and recommends that our users contact exchanges directly with any specific security-related questions. Zencash also remains committed to providing timely customer service. Well, that doesn't really explain some of what I heard them explaining on the air here today with the call to freedom, and maybe we need to get them on the air to talk about this as well, because talking about an exchange and what the exchanges do, I don't know if that's going to satisfy concerns here, right? Because a 51% attack could affect a lot of other people besides people on exchanges.
Need to bring up more secure nodes by the sounds of it.
Well, secure nodes aren't mining.
No.
So secure nodes aren't miners, as I understand it. Secure nodes are, I don't know exactly what their function is, but they are basically the equivalent of a full node with some sort of, other aspects to it. This is a mining issue. And so they were talking about on the show this afternoon on Call to Freedom that there would be some way to make this more difficult to pull off, to somehow solve the whole 51% attack problem. That's what they said they're committed to doing. Now, I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know enough about the technology. I'm not an engineer, which is why I sound like, a fool talking about this, because, I'm just sort of out here like shocked at this, although I shouldn't be, because 51% attacks are a real thing, especially when it comes to the smaller currencies. So I would say in this case, the best thing I can say at this point is buyer beware. There are risks involved, serious risks involved in cryptocurrencies, especially the smaller ones like Zencash.
Most of the most valuable things that happened to me in life were things that at the time were kind of shocking.
Yeah.
And I would have called them negative. But I learned from them and I moved on. And that's what I'm expecting to have happen here. And, if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I can tell you by pricing, that shows confidence in the marketplace.
Yep.
Pricing for Zencash hasn't moved that much over the past 7 days.
In the last 24 hours or so, 24 to 48 hours.
Right. So, I mean, not that big of a, big of a change. It's down a little bit, but not a lot. Single digits.
Can you get in touch with them, Mark, and see if we can get them on the show to talk more about this? Because, we're just sort of uninformed, I think, at best. And I don't really feel like that statement from Zencash really explains, what, if any, provisions can be made to prevent this from happening in the future. Because it's one thing to say, oh, well, they targeted an exchange, but if they undid 38 blocks worth of transactions, surely there were transactions in those blocks that weren't related to the exchange, right? Unless there's one transaction per block and there were just those 2 transactions in those blocks, I suppose that could have been the case. But that doesn't seem likely.
No, it doesn't seem likely
to me. So, I do find myself wondering if some other people got caught up in this and if they lost their Zen. That's not cool. But, again, buyer beware. That's, there you go. Full disclosure here on Free Talk Live, or at least as full as we understand the situation right now. It's just to say we don't understand much about it. But we will bring you more information.
I've got a note here, and we'll try to get him on.
All right,
Coley got him on. We can get him on.
Yeah, we definitely can. We just I had not gotten this news until late this afternoon, and so we didn't have any time to get anything scheduled. So we'll see what we can do about that. In the meantime, we will be joining you online, of course, where we have a Discord channel dedicated to cryptocurrencies. So you want to talk about crypto with other Free Talk Live listeners and some of the hosts, we've got that over at discord.lrn.fm, so hop on in there and enjoy the conversations that go on there. There's now a new troll zone, or not troll zone, but a toxic user zone, which our listeners have been having fun with. I've now set, as of this weekend, per request, I set it to not safe for work, so you can now pretty much post all kinds of unsafe for work things in the toxic user zone.
Horrifying things are happening in the rubber room for trolls.
Yeah. That was the old name of that similar zone on our bulletin board system, which is now retired. So check it out at discord.lrn.fm, and we'll talk to you tomorrow online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101, if it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, June 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.50 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,296 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $27, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,526. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. war in Afghanistan continues to go poorly, and the latest data on casualties underscores just how rapidly things are worsening. In May, 1,762 people were killed and 1,190 were wounded. That's an increase of 42% over the previous month. Some of this reflects the continued ratcheting up of the Taliban's spring offensive, but the offensive was already going for much of April, and unlike in early years of the war, there isn't the same winter lull that used to precede the new offensives. U.S. troops are deep into their 16th year in Afghanistan, and while Pentagon brass continues to make vague claims of progress and turning the corner, Afghan forces control less territory than ever, and U.S. troop deployments are less about winning at this point and just slowing the rate of losses. Even the capital city of Kabul is practically under siege, with heavy casualty attacks happening disturbingly often. The ability to travel around the country is virtually non-existent, with U.S. forces relying less on convoys and taking helicopters most places they need to go in the name of safety. General John Nicholson, the U.S. commander, said infiltrating Kabul is easier than we would like, but other than throwing more troops at the problem, they don't seem to have any idea how to fix the problem. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports fires in California, Colorado, and New Mexico continued to burn thousands of acres over the weekend. New Mexico's Ute fire grew to 31,930 acres on Sunday as forecast of strong thunderstorms in the area raised concerns about flash flooding on burn scars and the possibility of lightning strikes causing even more fires, according to the New Mexico State Forestry Division. A mandatory evacuation was ordered for residents of Ute Park on Saturday night. The community of Cimarron was also placed under mandatory evacuations as the blaze threatened 296 structures in the area. About 14 outbuildings were destroyed in the Philmont Scout fire as a result of that fire. Firefighters conducted successful burn operations on Saturday and formed a dozer line around the Ute Park to protect the community from the fire. The Rocky Mountain Blue Team said Fire 416 in Colorado grew to 2,255 acres and was about 10% contained on Sunday. The team assumed command over the 416 fire early Sunday morning and planned to check for hotspots and reopen Highway 550. Firefighters in Colorado said forecasted storms could help dampen the fire, but warned increased winds and lightning could make battling the blaze more difficult and spark even new fires. Evacuations for 1,500 residents also remained in effect, according to the La Plata County government. Most evacuation orders for Laguna Beach were lifted Sunday as firefighters continued to combat brush fires. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. Reuters reports 3 people were airlifted to safety on Sunday morning as lava from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano threatened an isolated area where they had become trapped. The 2 men and a woman became the latest in a series of evacuations on Hawaii's Big Island, forced by the volcano, which has been erupting since May 3rd. On Saturday, National Guard troops, police, and firefighters ushered evacuees from homes on the eastern tip of the island hours before lava cut off road access to the area, according to officials. A stream of lava as wide as 3 football fields flowed over a highway near a junction at Kapoho, a seaside community rebuilt after a destructive eruption of Kilauea in 1960. Officials said about a dozen people remain in the area, but it is not clear whether they are in the neighborhoods that are immediately threatened by the lava. The Hawaii Volcano Observatory reported late on Saturday that lava had also destroyed a freshwater lake, boiling away all of the water. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Hundreds of exasperated Americans confirmed Thursday that, for fuck's sake, the article they just clicked on is actually